personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T, F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, or S, speech difficulty, then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Colin Cowherd says that the Cowboys are a bottom 5 offense without CeeDee Lamb. Mike Greenberg says Deion Sanders would be a good Cowboys head coach. And the Patriots trade Matthew Judon to the Falcons. And much, much more on a new show of the Sports Loudmouth. Doc Rivers is going to have Damian Lillard run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the player $300 million. You better be sure that that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely lost on calling plays. Maybe he's a therapist. It's a Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey on the board, our executive producer, Aaron Fishman, and Mr. Tommy Scoops as our sports minute. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108 and go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out all our listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. It is humid, ladies and gentlemen. It is not raining. We're supposed to have a pretty good weekend. We will see. But Speedy, what is your plans this weekend?
Well, I have to deal with a lot of crap because in addition to my my other stuff, my financial issues and my doctor issues, now my computer.
Why are you talking about your financial issues here on the show? I have no idea why you're doing that.
Well, now I'm having computer issues. My computer would not start yesterday. Errol was nice enough to take me to Walmart to get me another one, which will hold over, but I'm still hoping to get my other one back as well, so then I could do two computers and edit twice as fast.
That's true. And by the way, I've been pushing Speedy to get a new computer, and finally he does. And here's the thing, fans. If you have a computer, if you're doing stupid things throughout social media, it's going to create problems with your computer because some people will draw, what do they call them? What are those bad things that go into
viruses?
The computer? Well, it's not even viruses. The horse viruses and all that other stuff. So that stuff happens, and then your computer shuts down, and you can never get it back up. So Speedy finally went out there and got himself another computer. So I'm very happy about that. He made some money this week, so that was good. So it pretty much paid for itself. But we have a very good show lined up for you guys. At 8:30, we'll be talking to Jets content creator, our friend and host, Matt O'Leary, will be joining us at 8:30. And at 9 o'clock, we will be talking to former Raiders and Texans cornerback, Gareon Conley. He will be joining, and he will be coming on Mr. Gareon. So
nice.
So he will be joining us a little bit later in the show. Colin Cowherd, I love this story, says that the Cowboys will be a bottom 5 offense in the NFL without CeeDee Lamb. He added that Dak Prescott is mediocre if you don't give him good weapons. He added that you can win games with Cooper Rush at quarterback if you give them weapons. Jerry Jones said there is no urgency to sign CeeDee Lamb. And Lamb responded, LOL, on Twitter. Yahoo Sports reports that Lamb turned down a contract offer worth about $33 million per year. Lamb had 135 catches for 1,749 yards and 12 touchdowns last season for the Dallas Cowboys. And by the way, broke almost every single Dallas Cowboy record as a wide receiver. There's a lot of problems. Who is that, Speedy? Who is that?
I don't know.
Let's put him through. Who's calling the show in the beginning of the show? Who is this? Who is this?
Hey, I have a question, sir.
Hang up the phone. Yeah, we're not getting into that. Hang up the phone. He doesn't even. I know who it is. It's Joe Lee. He has no idea what he's going to talk about when it comes to sports. So I don't have any questions, and I don't want to answer any questions for Joe Lee. Anyways, to get back into the Colin Cowherd situation, please mute that, Speedy. I do not
want you to call. Sorry.
I do not want to hear him. I have a lot more to get into, and I don't want his stupidity on this show. Here's the problem right now. If you look at the situation with the Cowboys, there's a lot of problems with this organization. And one of the big problems for this organization is they invested too much money into players they shouldn't have invested money into. And they lost Smith in the offseason. He goes to the New York Jets. Their offensive line is fighting injury. They have an offensive lineman who's one of the best in the league that looks like he's going to retire at the end of this season. There is a lot of problems right now for the Dallas Cowboys, and they couldn't add any weapons to that wide receiving core this offseason. The reason why is because they have to pay Micah Parsons. They have to pay CeeDee Lamb, and they have to pay Dak Prescott. So there's a huge amount of problems right now for the Dallas Cowboys. And with CeeDee Lamb looking and trying and expecting big money this offseason because of Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson and all the wide receivers that just got themselves big-time NFL contracts, CeeDee Lamb was probably the best wide receiver in the NFL last year. And the reason why? was not because of the stars around him. He was the reason why Dak Prescott put up those big numbers. He was the reason why the Dallas Cowboys were one of the better offensive teams in the league. So why doesn't Jerry Jones open up his pockets and pay one of the best wide receivers the Dallas Cowboys ever had? And I'm going to say this. For all the Dallas Cowboy fans sitting here today thinking that Micah Parsons should be the one being paid before CeeDee Lamb, shame on you, because I don't know if you're watching the Cowboys as much as half the fans in the world are watching. And I'm not talking about Dallas Cowboy fans. I'm talking about NFL fans. I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers fans, the Jet fans, the Giant fans that are watching the Dallas Cowboys, not because they're fans of them, because they want them to lose. They want to see them go down in flames. The best player right now on that Dallas Cowboy team is CeeDee Lamb. Hands down. Hands down. He's the best player on that team. And I understand Dak Prescott is expecting big money because Joe Burrow got it. Trevor Lawrence got it. Jordan Love got it. So he's on his way on getting that $60 to $65 million contract. Even if it's not with the Cowboys, the Giants, the Patriots, if they're looking for a quarterback at the end of the season, if this young kid is not the guy, they're going to be looking for a top-end quarterback and say whatever you want about Dak Prescott. He can't achieve. He can't win. Fine. But guess what? His numbers would tell you he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Colin Cowherd has been the king, ladies and gentlemen, for years with ESPN, now with Fox, years of bringing up topics to stir up the pot. He has. He's been the king of stirring up the pot for years. So why not bring up Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys? We have seen so many different analysts over the years, including Stephen A. Smith, that can't stand the Dallas Cowboys. And to say that Dak Prescott is mediocre is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Is it his problem that the Dallas Cowboys don't give him weapons around him? Ferguson had a great year last year. Why did Ferguson have a great year as a tight end last year? Because Dak Prescott is throwing him the ball. Ferguson isn't TJ Hawkinson. He's not Travis Kelce. He's not George Kittle. He's none of the above. He does have a hot girlfriend, by the way. I'm not going to lie about that. One of the twins, you know what I'm talking about. One of the twin basketball players. I forget their names, but they're pretty damn hot. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys need to get CeeDee Lamb. They need to get him back at practice, and they need to get him signed. Figure it out next year about Dak Prescott if you decide you want to bring him back. You want to bring in another veteran quarterback to play for him. Maybe Kirk Cousins becomes available next year. Maybe the Atlanta Falcons decide to move him. I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months with a lot of these teams. Look what happened to JJ with the Minnesota Vikings. He's out for the season. JJ McCarthy is out for the season. I said it. What did I say last show? If I was Minnesota, I'd tell him to get the surgery and sit him out for the rest of the year. Keep the pressure off him. Let Sam Darnold go out there and play. If Sam Darnold puts up big numbers, you can use him as a trade chip. And then you bring in J.J. McCarthy next year. Less pressure. He automatically becomes probably the up-and-coming rookie of the year. Because the quarterback class next year is not good. So J.J. McCarthy automatically becomes a rookie. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys have to figure out this problem. Because if you go into the season without CeeDee Lamb, you have a lot of problems. You have nobody to fill in for him. Nothing. You did nothing this offseason to make this team better. And again, you have gotten worse. You did. You've gotten worse. Because if you look at their team, their offensive line is a shell of what it was last year. And by the way, the offensive line wasn't that good. It was okay. You have players moving different positions. It's a huge problem right now for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is going to be running for dear life. I'm going to tell you this right now. There is no way Dak Prescott's not going to be hit a ton of times this year. He better hold on to that ball. I don't think he needs to worry about throwing interceptions. I think he needs to worry about getting hurt. And without CeeDee Lamb as your blanket, it's going to be a big problem. It is a problem. I'm going to say this one more time for all you Cowboy haters or Cowboy lovers. This team is made up of 4 levels. 4 levels. 4 levels of players. Number 1, CeeDee Lamb. A weapon on the outside, can do many different things. You can move him in the slot. He can run any single route. You need him. That's the number 1 priority. Number 2, Dak Prescott. The reason why you need Dak Prescott is because you need somebody that can throw the ball. And I don't want to hear it. I'm going to say, I don't want to hear Cooper Rush's name. I don't want to hear about Trey Lance. I don't want to hear about any of those guys. Those guys are not good. Okay? They're not. So stop it. Cowboy fans, stop it. Number 3, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons right now is one of the best defensive linemen in all of football. All of football. And that's the difference right now on what the Dallas Cowboys are and what they're not. And number 4, I know everybody's going to say offensive line, da-da-da-da-da. Their number 4 important piece to the puzzle is their running back play. And who is their running back this year? Zeke Elliott. If Zeke has anywhere close to a 1,000-yard season, that's a plus. Because that takes pressure off of who? Takes pressure off of CeeDee Lamb. Takes pressure off of Ferguson to make plays. It opens up the field for Dak Prescott. Those are the pieces that need to be filled. And those are the pieces they absolutely need going into a season where you're in a division with a Commander team that has nothing to lose, a Giant team that has everything to lose, and a Philadelphia team that is expected for greatness. That's it. Dallas needs to be flawless this season if they expect to keep Mike McCarthy as their head coach.
Yeah, because otherwise we're getting into that next rumor as well with a coach that didn't do too well in college football will be our next topic on that. But nevertheless, yeah, it's still a ridiculous statement for Cowher to say that, because you look at taking away CeeDee Lamb off that offense. Your second best receiver was Brandon Cooks, who is a fine receiver, but he's not a number 1, and he's undersized. He has some flaws in his game. Jake Ferguson, who's a decent tight end, but he's only proven it 1 year. And then Michael Gallup literally had to be cut, signed with the Raiders, and said, I can't play football anymore, and retired at 28 years old. Those are the weapons that you would have had last season if you didn't have CeeDee Lamb. Yes, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb helps Dak Prescott. I'm not saying he didn't, but Dak Prescott doesn't get an MVP status with only CeeDee Lamb. And there's enough bad offenses across the NFL where you're going to still say, all right, the Cowboys are not a bottom 5. Are they a league average offense without CeeDee Lamb? Probably. They're probably in the 15, 16 range, something like that. Because you're right. There are questions with their running game. Zeke Elliott is 29 years old, coming off an injury-riddled season. He was decent with the Cowboys the last 2 years, but not like amazing what he was at the beginning of his career. And Tony Pollard, they let go to free agency. He signed with the Titans after he really wasn't a great pure runner. He's had 1,000 yards rushing, but a lot of that was in like 5 or 6 games. It wasn't overly consistent. So that's the offense that you're saying Dak Prescott is mediocre in? I mean, that's just a ridiculous statement. Did the team get worse? Yeah, obviously. I'm not even sure. They're probably a wild card team. I'm not even sure about that, because other teams got better. They got worse, but still, bottom 5 offense in the NFL when you have the Broncos, which have no identity whatsoever. A lot of question marks with a team like the Panthers. Like there's much worse offenses that the Giants have a worse offense. Like there's much worse offenses than the Dallas Cowboys if you take away CeeDee Lamb. Are they league average? Probably, but not bottom 5.
Again, the Dallas Cowboys have a lot of problems going into this season. And again, it's not just CeeDee Lamb. It's figuring out what you're going to have to pay Dak Prescott. And where is this team going this year? Are they a Super Bowl contender, or are they just another team that's going to make a playoff run in the first or second round and lose and go on their way? Because this year, Everybody's expecting the Lions to be a Super Bowl contender. San Francisco every year is a Super Bowl contender. I think the Rams are going to be a lot better this year. They're younger, they're faster, and if Matthew Stafford stays healthy this year, they could be so explosive, absolutely explosive. So you're sitting here today, what does the Dallas Cowboys have to do to get to that level? And it's really, there's nothing they have to do but bring those players back and make sure that those guys are happy. Zeke, he's making the bare minimum. What's he making? 1 million,
like
2 million a year?
1.3 million or something like that.
There's nothing in my eyes that would tell me as an organization that if they decide that Zeke Elliott is not the same player he was 2-3 years ago, which he's not, if they decide, hey, you know what, we'll part ways with him and bring in a rookie or bring in some of these guys from the waiver charts when one of these teams drop them, because there's a lot of running backs that are going to be available in the next week or two. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to bring in another veteran guy to be with Zeke. Now, they have some good young running backs, and we'll see how the turnaround is going to be. But again, you have Zach Martin, who could be retiring at the end of the year because he came out and said that he's probably going to do that. And they have an offensive line in Tyler Smith, who is going to play guard this year, and a left tackle, Anaduga, who played for the New York Delts.
And I think he's already hurt, too.
I'm just saying he's questionable to start the season. But again, this is a team and an offensive line that's fairly old. So you're going into the season trusting that this offensive line is going to stick together and stay together. That would worry me if I was a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yeah, you have to worry about a lot of different things with the Cowboys, especially with all the players they lost in the offseason. We talk about like some of these teams in the NFC improving, and it's still a top-heavy conference, but the commonalities with all those fringe teams, like you're talking about the Rams outside of Aaron Donald retiring, was able to keep everybody. The Buccaneers, they lost their offensive coordinator, but they kept everybody. The Falcons got better. Like all these fringe teams, the Bears and the Packers, we were talking about it like pretty much every show the last couple shows. Like they all got better, and the Cowboys lost everything. You're plugging in a lot of young players all at once. I like Tyler Guyton, who they drafted in the first round this year, and Tyler Smith's been pretty good on the offensive line, but that's two players. Like, can you trust that same kind of thing to get it to its glory days? Now, they draft offensive linemen very well in the past, but they need a lot to hit all at once, especially if Zach Martin does retire. And you look at this defense, they got decimated big time. Like, they lost pretty much their entire front seven. You have Trayvon Diggs coming back from a torn ACL, so how good is he going to be? Jordan Lewis is fine as a slot corner, but you lost Dan Quinn, too, so you're learning a new defense. I know you guys like Mike Zimmer, but we'll see how it works one year into the scheme. So there's a lot of question with this team. This is a wild card team, closer to a wild card team than a Super Bowl contender.
Again, you're looking at the Cowboys right now, and we've seen enough of the Giants doing Hard Knocks and really all of Joe Shane. It wasn't really about the Giants. It was about Joe Shane. And now you're getting a chance to see another NFC team on Hard Knocks in the Chicago Bears, which I haven't watched any episode. I'm going to have the opportunity this weekend, because I'm not doing anything this weekend, to watch all what is it, 2 episodes now?
I think that's the second week, yeah.
So I'm going to get a chance to see both episodes. It's 2. Fish says it's 2. So I'm going to get a chance to see both of them. I never got a chance to see week 1 of Hard Knocks, but it's going to be an all-season thing. And again, I'm interested to see who Caleb Williams is behind the scenes and what this team is as an organization moving forward with a coach that I just think is a joke. Eberflus is a joke. And again, I would like to hear what everybody thinks about this team in Chicago than listening about the Cowboys, because the Cowboys are expected to be the Cowboys this year. They're going to win 10 or 11 games as long as CeeDee Lamb plays, as long as you got all the players, in camp and practices and stay healthy. I expect this team to win 11 games because the NFC is weak, and they're in a division right now where there's the Giants that are rebuilding, and you have the Commanders are rebuilding, and the only team they have to really worry about is the Philadelphia Eagles. So
John Suggs says Jerry Jones will let Dak walk or trade and go after Shedeur Sanders and bring his dad to replace McCarthy. Yeah, that sounds like a very Jerry Jones-esque movie. He loves flashy things, and he loves guys that are going to get all the attention.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens as far as I'm concerned with Jerry Jones, because this could be the last year Jerry Jones is running that team and that organization. Eventually, he's going to feed it to one of his sons.
His son's really saved the organization the last couple of years.
Yeah,
honestly.
so we will see. And Jerry Jones is in his 80s. So how many years does he have left running this organization and this team? I think he's senile at best right now. And I like Jerry Jones. He knows how to make money. This is an organization that is the most expensive organization. If he were to sell the Cowboys right now, they'd be worth between 13 and 16 billion. 100%. So Out of all the organizations, even in baseball, the Yankees and the Cowboys are the two highest priced organizations if they were to be sold. So I think Jerry Jones will never sell the Cowboys, and I don't think his sons are going to do anything of that thought either. But this is an organization that hasn't won a championship since the 90s. It's really amazing when you see all these different turnaround of quarterbacks and defensive players and offensive linemen that have been fairly some of the best in the league, never succeed, and haven't been to an NFC title game in a very long time, too.
The greatest stat ever. Thanks to the Lions for adding to that last year by making the NFC Championship game. The Cowboys are one of 5 teams in the 21st century to never make a conference championship team.
It really is.
The other 4, the Texans, a new team that came out in 2002, the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Commanders, all dysfunctional teams at one point.
Well, again, in the NFL, there's a lot of dysfunctional teams. One of them are here in New York, the New York Jets. Actually, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
The Giants are dysfunctional, too.
Oh, yeah, they have been the last 8 years.
As Joe Shane is wondering or asking his kids who he should draft. So let's do that. Why don't we just put it in an envelope? I become the GM. All the studying, all my guys, all my scouting, all the different people that I have working for me, screw them. I'm not doing that. I'm going to ask my children. I don't have any children. So I'll ask my nieces and nephews, hey, as a GM, who would you draft? Who do you like? Is there a person that you think is sexy? Do you think this person has better feet or bigger feet than this guy? That's how I would pick my guy. Big hands. Speedy, you like big hands.
What's worse, what Joe Shane did there, or Jerry Jones revealing his draft board on the whiteboard 2 years ago?
Fish and you can hang out with one another. I mean, Fish is 6'3". He must have big hands. Speedy, you like big hands, right?
I don't care about hand size.
So what do you like?
It's not all these
size do you
it's
like?
not all these draft prospects have to rave about it with every quarterback.
So you like certain things that are certain sizes.
It has nothing to do with me.
Well, I'm asking you.
It has nothing to do with me.
If there's a particular body part that you want bigger, what would
I don't
it be?
care. None of them. I really don't care.
You don't want bigger hands?
I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care? If you were to pick
I
one
don't
body
care.
part, well, you have to. You have to pick one. What would you like? Bigger ears? Bigger nose? Bigger mouth? Give me one body part.
All right. I guess.
Spit it out already, Speedy. I guess. And think about
This is for Speedy after dark, not now. But
I know. I'm asking you what.
All right. I'll take my eyes. I can see better.
Bigger eyes?
Yeah, I can see better.
What is wrong with you? Out of all the body parts that you can have bigger, you would take eyes.
So I can see better? Yeah. That peripheral vision would expand.
Well, hold on one second. So if you have bigger eyes, you could see better. Who gives you this information?
I don't know.
Are you a scientist?
I didn't say I was.
Are you a doctor?
Oh my God, I did not say I was.
I'm asking you.
I didn't
out
say
of
I
any
was.
Body part, any body part you could pick, you pick your eyes. What common sense do you have here? I mean, honestly, that was ridiculous. Ridiculous. I think anybody would pick what I'm thinking in my mind, wouldn't you? I'm just thinking. Anyways, Mike Greenberg said on Get Up that Deion Sanders would be a perfect guy to coach the Dallas Cowboys. He added that it would fit Jerry Jones's pattern perfectly because he loves drama. He added that Shedeur Sanders would be a perfect first-round pick for the Cowboys if they don't keep Dak Prescott. He said that Sanders coaching Dallas would be a marketing and sales dream for the Cowboys and the NFL. Sanders has said in the past he does not want to coach in the NFL. Sanders got 8 NFL coaching interviews in the offseason, and I'm sure he's going to have more coming up this coming offseason. First of all, if I was the Dallas Cowboys, I'd stay far, far away from Deion Sanders. Far, far away from Deion Sanders. And far, far away from Shedeur Sanders. And there's a lot of reasons. And Mike Greenberg is not wrong. I think he's absolutely right. Because if Deion Sanders is a perfect fit for the Cowboys, I'd be a perfect fit for the Kansas City Chiefs. Why? Because it would be an absolute debacle of a sales pitch to the NFL. Deion Sanders will be there 1 year. 1 year. And he'll realize that he can't coach men. He realizes already that he's having problems with players in the locker room. He can't even coach these kids. These kids don't trust Deion Sanders because he has a butt fetish with his own sons. And I'm talking about even Hunter, too, who he calls his long-lost son. Right now, Colorado and Deion Sanders need to hurry up and figure out what this team is when it comes to NCAA Division I football. Because if Deion Sanders is already looking for his way out, it's going to be a very big what happened to Deion Sanders after he goes one and done with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it's going to be a disaster because you look at the Deion Sanders track record now, just adjusting to the college game. Like, he can't even do that. You lose 60 transfers after you tried to just replenish the whole team. You're not going to be able to get away with that in the NFL.
And again, and here's another thing, Speedy, that I didn't really get into when it comes to Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders has also been very outspoken to the media. Very outspoken.
Oh, yeah.
And if you didn't see what his sons did at the, the press conferences for Colorado, the opening press conferences, what do they call that?
Yeah, the intro press conferences, yeah.
No, but they do that before they get on the football field.
Yeah, the media day.
Media day. That's what they call it. Media day for the NCAA. These guys didn't want to answer any of the questions. The media wanted to throw these guys under the bus. Obviously, one of the sons going through bankruptcy because his father told him that it would be a better option for him. Meanwhile, his son injured a guy permanently for his career as a security guard, and this guy was probably hoping that he was going to get something out of it because, hey, maybe this guy doesn't or will never get a chance to work again because of his injuries. So, I mean, Deion Sanders to me is not much of a leader if he's telling his sons to decide, or telling one of his son, hey, this is the right thing to do for you, not the right thing to do for somebody that you permanently injured. So it doesn't make any sense. And again, that's leadership. If you're going to follow something, I was speaking to Scoops before the show, and it's all about leadership. When you look at somebody, when you're the face of that position, or you're the face of that show, or you're the face of that organization, whatever you do is going to take down everybody around you. It's going to make you look bad. It's going to make you look like the bad guy. Deion Sanders, it was great 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when he was coaching Jackson. But now you're coming to a division. Well, you were in Division I over there, but you're coming to a D1 school. It's not an SEC school, but it's a school that is more prominent than Jackson is. And now the pressure's on you. The portal's open. There's money out there. And now you have to speak to the press. You have to speak to the media. And the media is going to shoot you down on all the things that you have said over the years, thinking that you can go over there and be like Nick Saban and go coach a team and bring a team to prominence and be a national champion. It's not that easy. It's not. I'm going to tell you that right now, because a team that you played for in Dallas hasn't won since you have left. Those are the facts. How many coaches, how many Super Bowl coaches have been over there with the Dallas Cowboys that have failed? What makes anybody believe or think, including Mike Greenberg? That's why I said he's absolutely right. You should bring Deion Sanders over there to Dallas, because you're going to watch Dallas falter even more, look like a bunch of mediocre or laughing stocks of the NFL. And when Deion Sanders stamps his name to that team and that organization for the worst, as an organization, you're going to realize that Jerry Jones needs to retire.
Yeah, and if you do that, it just proves that Jerry Jones cares more about getting more clicks, getting more attention, just getting more hype across the game than actually coaching football. Because I don't know what in Deion Sanders' coaching resume, why? Because he was undefeated one season for an FCS school at Jackson State. Like, that's the basis you're going to go on. And it just shows that Jerry Jones is kind of stuck in between. Oh, should I be loyal or should I be flashy? And we were talking about it last week with Bill Belichick. Like, it fits the pattern of Jerry Jones because he likes things that are going to get attention. But at the same time, you're also going to hold on to Barry Switzer after firing Jimmy Johnson forever. And then you're going to hold on to Jason Garrett, who was an average coach at best in his best years for 10 years that was held on to way too long. But yeah, you're going to get rid of Mike McCarthy for Deion Sanders? Like, seriously. I'm not saying Mike McCarthy's been an amazing coach, but he's been a good coach and definitely way better at his level than Deion Sanders.
Mike McCarthy has had winning seasons besides his first season with the Cowboys. Right. I mean, he's broken 10 wins or more every single year since that first year. Mm-hmm. Every single year. He just can't get over the hump. It's not that easy. The playoffs, you could be outmatched. Those are the best teams. Those are the best defenses. Those are the best offenses, and those are the best quarterbacks. That's what happens.
Besides last year with the Packers, every other team that they played.
The Packers were a good team in the second half.
Packers are good.
The Packers were one of the best teams. The last 6 games of the season, who was better than the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, and then the 49ers the 2 years before that. The 49ers had much more talent than the Cowboys did.
But that's not what I'm saying. When you look at the Green Bay Packers and what they really put out there in the last 5-6 games of the season, they got healthy. Their wide receivers, their young wide receivers really exploded. Jordan Love became a superstar right in front of our eyes. That's why he's making $50-some-odd million a year now. I mean, in 1 year, this guy became a 50 millionaire. A 50 millionaire. He's making $50 million a year after 1 season. Hey, put me in, coach. Put me in. Because if I could throw 4,000 yards and 30-something touchdowns, I'd be worth $50 million. Seriously.
And that was your juggernaut defense against that Packers offense, which was the youngest team in the league.
Listen, again, everybody wants to blame Dak Prescott, but what about Micah Parsons? If you look at Micah Parsons' numbers in the playoffs, they're not good. They're not good. Micah is great in the beginning of the season. I mean, if you look at his numbers in his last 2 years as a Pro Bowl All-Pro player, Micah Parsons' numbers were sensational in the first 7-8 games. Look at the drop-off in the last 7-8 games. Mm-hmm. They're not as good. Yep. And the reason why? Maybe he's tired. Maybe this team is not as good defensively as all the Cowboy fans believe they are. I mean, just be honest with yourselves, Cowboy fans. Deion Sanders is not the right guy for the job. It would be Bill Belichick. And I said that on Tuesday. You bring in a veteran guy, a guy that's won before. Mike McCarthy's won, but he hasn't gone over the hump since Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. They're not going to do anything to help the defense either. Like Deion Sanders is not going to be this defensive strategist that even Mike Zimmer is. Nevertheless, Bill Belichick was a defensive mastermind.
It would worry you.
Yeah.
It would definitely worry you. And I don't care if you're a Giant fan, Commander fan, Philadelphia fan. It doesn't matter what division you're in. If you're the Dallas Cowboys or even Mike Greenberg and you're speaking about Deion Sanders, that would scare the hell out of me. I do not want Deion Sanders in my locker room. I want him far, far away from my players because even though a lot of players, a lot of ex-NFL players respect Deion Sanders for his success, let's be honest. What success has he been or has been as a head coach for the Colorado team? What has he been or what has he done? Jackson, that's great. Jackson State was in a division or whatever, a conference that nobody gives a crap about. Nobody cares. Go look at what he has done in his first year with Colorado. When he was speaking all the craziness, they were 3-0. Do you know how many games they won last year? 4. They won 4 games. They were 3-0 in the beginning of this year. 3-0. Everybody was like, oh my God, look at this team. Then they played USC and Shedeur Sanders played he didn't play as well as Caleb Williams, but he put up good numbers. After that, they look like crap.
The Stanford game is the laughable one when they had a 21-point lead and they blew it to a Stanford team that's never been good at football since
Christian McCaffrey look like crap. And Deion Sanders was a shell of what he was in the beginning of the season, speaking to the press and saying, hey, guess what? We're going to do things that nobody expects us to do. We expect to be great. I expect greatness. And you know what? Now you have players that hate you. You have players that hate your player, your sons. I mean, Shedeur Sanders throwing players under the bus that he coached. And players went into the portal and just left. They didn't want anything to do with the Sanders family.
Yeah, that's great leadership for an NFL team. Oh, yeah.
I would stay far, far away from Deion Sanders. Let's bring Fish in. I'd like to hear his opinion. He's a Giant fan. It's very interesting. If you're a Giant fan, you should be listening to this because if anybody believes that Deion Sanders is the gift that keeps on giving for the Cowboy fans, I would mail it back, or I would take coal from Santa. How's that?
Let's give Fish some credit. He's the one that said 3 months ago that Deion Sanders or Shedeur Sanders for the Cowboys would be hilarious.
I think it's a wonderful move. I think Deion Sanders would bring the Cowboy Nation the pride they've always wanted. He's not a flashy guy. He's a bare bones. He's going to bring them the guts and the toughness. I think they'll go 17-0 with him as the coach and Shedeur Sanders at quarterback. Take the first-round pick, trade up to number 1 for Shedeur. Yeah, I think that's the right way to go. There's no reason that you should not get rid of a coach that's gone 12-5 the last 3 seasons, that has had really good offenses, has won a Super Bowl in his career as a coach. But no, go take the guy who's under 500 as an NCAA coach. That guy is the future. Take him. He's the best guy, Dallas.
Oh, he's selling as a Giant fan. Maybe the Giants should bring him in. Maybe that would fit.
I just don't think the culture
ever think about bringing a Cowboy in there. That's one. And number two, bringing Deion Sanders, who is a media frenzy nut job. I mean, could you imagine Deion Sanders coaching one of these New York teams? Woody Johnson would love it, by the way. I would stay the hell away from me, man. I do not want him to ever touch my team. Shedeur Sanders, please stay away from the New York Jets. But could you imagine him in New York speaking to the press? I mean, the press would eat him up alive. They would eat him up alive. Look at Robert. I'm taking receipts. I'm taking receipts. I mean, everybody, that's the joke of the town. It's still to this day the joke of the town. People are using that in skits. They're using that in skits on YouTube because of the New York Jets and what they have said over the years. Even Rex Ryan takes have been used in skits right now. I'm going to hear, I would love to hear what Matt O'Leary thinks on Robert Saleh's future with the New York Jets. And I don't want to hear that he thinks that it's strong, because it's not to me. I think it's been an absolute, it's been horrendous. It's been an absolute joke for any of the Jet fans to sit here and tell me that Robert Saleh has been a good coach for this Jet team.
Future Texans defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh.
He'd be something. I'd rather him coach Pee Wee football right now than coach my team.
Actually, here's a better idea. Miami Dolphins future defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh. He can stick it to the Jets
How
that
about
way.
this? Oh, I would love this. Bring Mike in. Let the Dolphins fire Mike, and then Mike come over here to the Jets, and Robert Saleh goes over there to the Dolphins. Oh, man, that would be great. I would love that. Man, I would just burst in my pants, Petey. I would love it.
Oh, so yeah,
It'd be good.
It'd be
a good feeling.
Second time in a row.
I'd be lovely.
The
As
Jets
the
will
English
pursue a
says.
Dolphins former head coach after the great Adam Gase.
I would be happy. First of all, do not bring Adam Gase up. But I would say this. For all the people that hated Adam Gase, go look at Adam Gase's record as a Jets head coach and look at Robert Saleh's. I mean, it's better. It's been better. So bring back Adam Gase. I think they have a better chance of winning with Adam Gase than Robert Saleh. At least Adam Gase will admit and tell you that he is calling the plays behind the line of scrimmage, not telling everybody that he has 4 guys calling the play to go to him before they call it. I mean, seriously, what the hell are the Jets thinking this year?
We'll have Adam Gase with his big googly eyes look at Robert Saleh's receipts and see what they actually say.
Man, oh man, I'd be munching on it, man. I'd be munching on something.
I got to tell you, as someone who coaches, I'm sorry, as someone who coaches football as an offensive coach, I'm in the booth relaying what I see to the coach downstairs. Sometimes other coaches get on the headset and it becomes a little loud, and there's some headset etiquette that really, if you're not a coach, you don't know about. I can't imagine 4 coaches having to communicate to get a playoff every single time for the Jets. It's just Aaron Rodgers going to be like, yeah, sure. And then he's going to run whatever he wants. It's going to be really terrible for the Jets fans if that's what's going on. You're going to see a lot of late in the snap count, penalties. You're going to see false starts. You're going to see delay of games. If you have this, we already saw it not work in New England with 2 guys. They're adding a 3rd guy, and you have Nathaniel Hackett, who I don't think anyone in the league trusts at this point, other than Aaron Rodgers. And they're all answering to the immortal Bob Saleh. What's going on?
Saleh, I like that. Bobby O. Saleh. Sail away, take me away, Bobby O.
The official song of Robert Saleh's coaching.
When I see Robert Saleh, when I see him, I'm going to say, "Hey, Bobby O, what are you doing?" He's going to be looking around, his bald head, the shine off his head from the sun. Oh, my God. The prettiness of his goatee, his beard, and make me throw the hell up. I mean, seriously. I have no idea what's going to happen to the New York Jets. But right now, I'm not going to bet on Robert Saleh. I would not. But I wouldn't bet on, Deion Sanders either. So I think I'd bet against Deion Sanders, because he's a Sander, because his sons would make it Sanders. Go ahead, Speedy. You like that? I didn't. I didn't like it. Okay. I'm lost with this whole Bobby O, Deion Sanders thing. Man.
Robert Saleh, Adam Gase, and Deion Sanders go to coach a youth football team.
Could you imagine those guys on one executive to another? Could you imagine that coaching staff? Robert Saleh, Adam Gase, and Todd Bowles. Oh my God, that would be great. Who do you think they could coach? What team would you? I'd pick Arizona. I think Arizona. They'd look better than what they've looked over the last couple of years. I mean, Gannon's done pretty good for the Arizona Cardinals. I can't lie. Last year, getting 5-6 wins out of that team.
Yeah, they beat the Cowboys and the Eagles last year.
They did. They absolutely did. I mean, Speedy.
They should have beaten the Giants. So the Giants came.
I think we should reach out to Mr. Gannon and ask him if, what size, what body part would he want? Which body part would he want bigger? What do you think he'd say?
I would say
his eyes, please.
No, he wouldn't say his eyes. I think he would say his legs.
His legs.
He wants to be tall. That's all of the players.
Speedy, are we lost here? Is there something wrong with you here? What am I, Little Red Riding Hood? Oh, could I? What was the Little Red Riding Hood song? What was that? Would she walk? The Big Bad Wolf. What was that? I got to find that song. So you should look that up. I think that would be funny. Oh man, but the Cowboys, they need Little Red Riding Hood. They need the Three Little Pigs. They need something to blow their houses down. I mean, seriously, I have no idea what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. But guess what? I think in the big picture, Mike Greenberg is onto something. So, Mike, get up. Thank you. We really appreciate you. We got to get Mike Greenberg on this show. That would be funny. What do you think, Speedy?
Yeah, you two would have some Jets banter.
I would actually speak about his career and what he's done, then talk about the Jets. I mean, what is there to talk about?
It'll eventually go to the Jets, though. Everything will end up going to the Jets, though.
We should have what is his name? Ryzen? What's his name?
You're talking about Robin Lumberg?
No. On the NFL Network.
Oh, Steve Weish.
No, not Steve Weish.
Rich Eisen.
Rich Eisen, yeah.
Speedy, what are you, lost to something? Again, Speedy with his big eyes, and now all of a sudden he doesn't even know names. I'm trying to throw you a curveball, and you can't even help me with that. And by the way, for our guy over there, Steve, he owes me some money because Phillip Rivers this year is going him. I think there's a possibility he could be. I think this year is
because he played Eli Manning's first year this year, and Phillip Rivers played a little.
It's 5 years, isn't it?
Yeah, but Eli Manning, this is his first year on the ballot. He retired, but 1 year before Phillip Rivers.
So it'll be next year.
Next year will be his first year.
So Ben Roethlisberger this year too.
No, because Ben played 2 more years after that, so he's
right after Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, he played 3 years ago. Ben.
All right, USA Today reports that Jim Harbaugh reached out to Colin Kaepernick and offered him a coaching job with the Chargers. Harbaugh reached out to Kaepernick shortly after signing with the Chargers, but Kaepernick was out of the country. Harbaugh called Kaepernick one of the greatest players he's ever coached. Kaepernick was also involved with Michigan's football spring practices and games with Harbaugh each of the last 2 seasons. Kaepernick is 37 years old and previously said he wants to still play in the NFL. I think Jim Harbaugh is out of his mind. I'm going to tell you this. Not only will this create so much of a stir to the media, it will not work in that locker room. It will not. As much as a lot of players like Colin Kaepernick, it would make more sense to bring him in as a backup quarterback than have him coach a team. Because what do you think the media is going to do to him? You're going to bring in a guy that has been attacked all over social media for the last 10 years. Attacked for the last 10 years for kneeling to the national anthem. How would that make sense for the Chargers? First of all, they can't sell out games. There's like what? Out of like an 80,000 person stadium, you could only fill 12,000 seats. How is that going to draw fans to come and watch the Chargers? How does that make sense? If I was Jim Harbaugh running this team and this organization, that would make no sense if you ask me. Here's the thing. I do believe that Colin Kaepernick can bring a lot to the game as a head coach or even as an assistant coach. It's just not feasible right now. It really isn't. There is nothing that I've heard Colin Kaepernick say on social media that would tell the media that he has changed, that he's a better man now than he was when he kneeled to the national anthem. Now, I do believe he deserves a second chance, but as a head coach or even as a coach on his coaching staff, it would make no sense. Do you think Justin Herbert is going to listen to Colin Kaepernick after kneeling to the national anthem? I don't know about you guys. Do you remember when they were doing the kneeling for the national anthem? Does anybody remember what Justin Herbert did when everybody was kneeling? He was standing. He was one of very few people on that roster that stood for the national anthem. So let me ask you guys this question. If Colin Kaepernick was the quarterback coach right now for the Chargers, what would you guys believe to think Justin Herbert would do if he was coaching them? Honestly, what would you guys think Justin Herbert would say to Colin Kaepernick if he was on the sidelines when he had a bad 4 and out? He'd tell him to go sit on the other side. Or go sit on a horse's you-know-what. That's what he would tell him, because I wouldn't pay attention to him. If he's going to coach a team, he's going to go to a team that has a young quarterback, not an elite quarterback, a quarterback that can use the information Colin Kaepernick is going to hand him. You think Justin Herbert's going to need information from Colin Kaepernick? He's been more successful. I'm going to say this. Colin Kaepernick went to a Super Bowl and was 1 or 2 players away from winning a Super Bowl. But, I mean, Justin Herbert is expected to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for the next 10 years. Colin Kaepernick was that maybe 1 year of his career. That's it. When we were speaking about or talking about, Colin Kaepernick or Russell Wilson, who would you rather on your roster? Who would you rather on your team? And the answer would be right now, none of them. I wouldn't want any of them on my team and on my roster. One, because he can't get along with players, and the other, because he has his own emotional problems on and off the field.
And also in the discussion was Cam Newton, who now doesn't know anything about quarterback play because he thinks Dak Prescott's overrated and Brock Purdy's a game manager.
I mean, if you're Jim Harbaugh right now and you're trying to make a statement, that is not a statement I am going to launch to the fans and the media, especially the fans, because there are no fans. So, I mean, you're just scaring fans away even further. I mean, this team is rebuilding, okay? That's what they're doing. And Justin, I give a lot of credit to Justin Herbert. He took that extension, and he is on his way to having a very bad season, not because of his ability, because he's got nothing around him. Who does he have throwing him? Who is he throwing the ball to? Mike Williams, he's with the Jets. We all know where his star wide receiver went in the offseason. He's hanging out with Caleb Williams now. I mean, their running game, they bring in Swift. What did he do with the Eagles last year? I mean, I'm sorry, he's with Chicago. I'm sorry. Swift went to Chicago. My mistake. I mean, who's the running back?
It's the 2 Ravens guys. They reunited Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins. I'm sorry, the guy that can't stay healthy. I mean, if you sit here today, Jim Harbaugh is really going into a season with probably the best tackle combination in the NFL. Because I think Slayton and the kid that they drafted, an Alt, I think are going to be pretty damn good together if they could stay healthy. I think that those tackle positions are pretty much solidified for the next 10 years if they can pay both of them. But everything else,
think about.
Go ahead.
Scary to think about what Herbert could do if he has time. Slater was hurt the year before. Everyone saw him his rookie year that he was dominant, and the Giants should have drafted him. That's a whole nother story. And we all know that we ended up with Tony and Evan Neal instead of drafting him or Micah Parsons.
Are you serious?
But that's how it went. They let those 2 guys were on the board.
Who's he throwing to this year? If you're the Chargers right now, could you tell me who their 2 starting wide receivers are going to be?
Palmer's going to be one of them. He's a good player. He just got hurt last year from Maryland.
Palmer?
I like Palmer.
So you're going to bet on this?
He's a 2. He's not a 1. I think he could be a 2. But it doesn't matter. If he's a talented quarterback, we saw Herbert make one of the greatest throws against the Giants I've ever seen in my entire life on the run, getting hit by 3 guys, got it 50 yards in the air into the end zone. beat 2 defenders. He's got all of the skills that Josh Allen has, who we'll talk about a little later in the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Palmer.
Fantasy sleeper, guys. Fantasy sleeper.
I'll give you a fantasy sleeper, man. I'd rather sleep than pick Palmer in any of my fantasy. I'm serious. I'd rather fall asleep. He'd be the last person I'm going to pick. And Justin Herbert.
No, Alan Lazard one.
Well, that's another one. Another one that plays for the Texans, too, who I can't stand. But Stephon Diggs, I'll just give you that. Anyways. But, I mean, honestly, if you're sitting here today, you do not bring in Colin Kaepernick. It doesn't make any sense. And if Colin Kaepernick takes that job, he already knows that he is not going to get another opportunity as a quarterback, which I don't think he will. I never thought that he was going to, and that's because of the NFL. That's because of Roger Goodell, and that's because of Jerry Jones and all these owners that just like to drop the hammer on players after, they step forward and they have their own beliefs in their own situations on their own platforms, and then using a platform that they should have never used. So again, it's a mistake that Colin Kaepernick made. I don't think, but there were other players doing the same thing. Colin Kaepernick.
So I want to chime in. I know usually I don't chime in as much, but this is a topic I really am passionate about. I disagree. I don't think Kaepernick did anything wrong at all at any point in time, other than being selfish about those pro days and everything. And I just wanted to give you my perspective on it. The platform, like the NFL is some holy platform, like guys that let Greg Hardy play football. Like let these DV guys, domestic violence guys, let these massage parlor enthusiasts have, the platform's too holy to make a statement. This country, and as a social studies teacher for the last 10 years, this country was founded on protest. The Sons of Liberty were protesting violently in the streets. We would not have a country if it wasn't for protest. All he did was take a knee. Now, as someone who's had a lot of, diverse kids on their football teams, I personally will never take a knee to the national anthem. However, I will also put my hand on someone's shoulder pads that is taking a knee to show them that I support them.
You put your hands down.
You're right. As everyone's standing in line, you put your hand on the shoulder pad.
I was wondering what you were trying to get to. I mean, Speedy?
I was trying to paint a picture. I'm a little Italian. I talk with my hands. It's one of those things. But
Speedy, he likes grabbing things. What do you think, Speedy?
I didn't finish this point.
I'm just asking.
I didn't finish this point.
I'm just saying, he likes grabbing. Okay, so what? Well, if he grabbed you, what would you say?
I don't know. Finish your point before this gets out
No, and it's good to keep this light because I think people have made too much of a deal of this over the years. I don't think what he did was as big of a deal. I think what happened was there are a lot of very conservative owners in the NFL who didn't like it and decided to gang up on him and blackball him from the sport when he would have been better than almost every backup quarterback on every team and a handful of starters, as we saw guys like, who did the Giants have that year where they were taking the knee? Jake Fromm play quarterback. You telling me Colin Kaepernick couldn't at least run a little read option? Are you telling me that they couldn't have used the guy who has, 4.6 speed at quarterback and has got a real cannon? Now, look, he's not the accurate. He wasn't a starting caliber quarterback when they let him out of the league. That's why he didn't come back. But he could have been a backup in a lot of places. And guys of his career stature, a guy like Tannehill has gotten a second chance as they've learned as they've gotten older. He was never given that shot. I think that was wrong. What he did, the punishment way, way outfits the crime. If there was one at all.
Again, I'm sorry to cut you off as much as I did.
No, I'm done.
My opinion here is Colin Kaepernick used a platform he should have never used. That's just my opinion. If you're going to use a platform, use your own, which he did. But he also used the platform. And LeBron James does the same thing. And that's why me and LeBron, I have my beef with LeBron James, because I don't want to hear about politics and his thoughts of what's going on in the world. I just want, if he's got his own show, he's got the barbershop. If you want to hear what he has, his thoughts when it comes to politics and politicians and the world and how the world is going to move and money is going to move in these particular, sections when it comes to shoe deals and media deals and all that other stuff that pizza deals. I mean, he owns everything now, LeBron James. Him and Magic Johnson should hang out. But honestly, I don't want to hear it. You're a player. That's not your platform to use. But I agree with you. He should have reached an opportunity one way or another to get another chance. But nobody was giving him that. And again, that's just professional sports. When you need to make a statement, look what John Gruden. John Gruden shouldn't have been treated like that. They needed to drop the hammer on somebody. They dropped the hammer on a personality that I love and personality that stood for something for the NFL, because they didn't want to throw the other guys under the bus that were either running organizations, GMs, or even guys that own teams and organizations that were racist or disrespectful to the, different ethnicities.
Right.
So,
and we were even talking about it like on Tuesday too. We were saying with comparing the other sports too, and even Dale Scott was mentioning this too when we had him on the show. Like baseball is very progressive owners, and their player union is very strong because of that kind of thing. Football is the complete opposite, like you were saying, Fish. Like they have all these conservative owners, they have all these owners that are 80 years old and thinking, oh, it's very old school. It's the white man way of thinking. Like it's not the same way when you see these players trying to fight for what they're fighting for. That same kind of thing.
Fight for your rights.
And like
Japan!
there were other players. There were other players.
Yeah.
There were other players on his side that even from rival teams that were supporting what he was doing. So it was surprising that all these other guys still ended up getting the jobs. Eric Reed was right with him in that protest.
And he still has a job.
And he got a job with the Carolina Panthers shortly after that. And I think with the Texans as well. And he was a good safety, but he was probably the same level of a safety as Kaepernick was as a quarterback at the time.
First of all, Kaepernick was better. Yeah. He was the quarterback. And he's a quarterback that took that team to a Super Bowl. I mean, at one point, they thought that not only Jim Harbaugh thought that this guy was going to be an MVP candidate one way or another, but then I believe that if Jim Harbaugh was there, Colin Kaepernick would have never done that. Now, I don't think he would have ever done that.
Yeah, it's interesting, too. Yeah, Chip Kelly is 1 year coaching there, too, which he had some controversial things with the Eagles as well. But, yeah, it's interesting because, Fish, you were even mentioning, like, yeah, his last couple years with the 49ers were not very good. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of bad quarterbacks. There's a lot of rookie quarterbacks. Like, there's a lot of mobile quarterbacks who weren't wanting to learn at the time from Colin Kaepernick, one of those dual threat guys being drafted out of the draft. How about the Ravens? Like, Lamar Jackson as a rookie. Like, you wouldn't have wanted. I know Flacco was there, but wouldn't you want to learn from somebody like Colin Kaepernick, somebody like Watson with the Texans? Like, the Texans ownership would never do it. But like,
here's the thing, and I'm going to
scenarios there for.
I'm going to cut you off on that. Would you, as an organization, let a guy that stood for something over the last 10 years go in there and coach your franchise quarterback and be there on the sidelines giving information when you as a player has affected the fans and affected many media junctions to attack you all over social media? The answer would be no. And that's why Jim Harbaugh doing this could really push him out of that coaching position if he fails to make this team a contender in the next 2 or 3 years. Do I think Jim Harbaugh will get this team up to that standard and be a contender? I do, because I think Jim Harbaugh's coaching in the NFL fits more in the NFL than it did in college football. I think he thinks run first and building an offensive line and building through the running game is the way to go. And most successful teams over the years, and you can ask any coach, even Bill Belichick, what was Bill Belichick's strength? He built a tandem of running backs, a good offensive line, a quarterback that had a fast release, a quick release, short passes, and a defense that was just, killing you on both sides of the standards, on the secondary and the front seven. He understood that speed and defense and the way you run the ball was going to help you win in the playoffs. And that's where the success happened. Say whatever you want about Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was a great quarterback. If you look at those teams, those successful teams that the New England Patriots had all those years, especially in the young years of Tom Brady, go look. They had a tandem of good running backs, guys that can run the ball and control the clock, and a defense that could absolutely kill you. So to me, that's the way to go. And what does Jim Harbaugh believe? The same way. He believes in old-time football. So will it work? Now, you have a quarterback. This is the best quarterback he's ever coached. I don't care what anybody says. Jim Harbaugh coached Alex Smith in the NFL. He did coach Andrew Luck in Stanford, but that's different. That's college football. But if you look at it, and I think Justin Herbert could be better than Andrew Luck, but nevertheless, this is the best quarterback. He coached Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick. I mean, both those guys are nowhere close to Justin Herbert and what Justin Herbert could do on the field. And I think this is going to help Justin Herbert develop into the quarterback that a lot of people believe he's going to be. And that is a top 3 quarterback. I think he's that good. On the run, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. But the problem is they didn't put players around him, just like the Giants have not put players around Daniel Jones to succeed. This is the same problem they're going to go into the season with over there with the Chargers.
Yeah, they don't have a bunch of guys with upside, too. Quentin Johnson was their first-round pick last year, and he looked really bad last year in terms of advanced metrics. That's probably your best high upside guy. Fish said, Palmer's good, but he's not anything special. And then Ladd McConkey's another one, a second-round pick they drafted last year, or this year, that's a slot guy. They don't have much else than anything. Forget about tight ends.
That's what I'm saying. Pull the strip out, baby. Pull that whip out. Indiana Jones.
I'll throw one last thing out. Oh, we got an Indy graphic for you,
I want to
Speedy.
be called Indy. Call me Indy. Call me Indy.
Fish.
Call me Indy.
I will do that.
Call me Indy right now.
When the time comes.
I want to hear it. Call me Indy.
All right, Indy, let Fish make his statement.
I like that. Could I whip you?
Let Fish make a statement. I called you Indy.
Go ahead, Fish. Finish your statement.
So the reason I think he wanted Kaepernick to be there is a real simple one. Who's the offensive coordinator with the Chargers right now? Greg Roman. Who was his offensive coordinator in the 49ers? It was Greg Roman. If there's anyone that's going, and Lamar's offensive coordinator for a number of years while he was putting up those running game stuff. If there's any reason, it's to communicate the new offense to the quarterback with someone who's done it at this level before. It's an obvious reason why they'd want him to do it. As far as the character stuff, you've made a lot of valid points. They may be on the different ends of the political spectrum with their beliefs on those things. It might be oil and water putting them together. But to teach someone the offense, especially the run game, which is going to be extensive this year, maybe some quarterback run with Herbert's a big dude. Maybe they'll have him run a little bit more now with Roman.
Oh, you better keep him in that. You
Kaepernick.
do not want to put him in harm's way. You do not want to do that. That would be a big mistake. I'm going to tell you right now.
He can run a little bit.
You just invested your franchise into this man. If this guy gets injured very quick. In every one of his seasons, Justin Herbert has been hurt. Every one. He's had wrist problems, finger problems, toe problems, ankle problems. I mean, thank God he hasn't had last year was a season-ending injury. The only reason why they called the season because he knew he had no chance of winning. They knew that they were done with the season, so he wasn't coming back. So look at the division they're in. I mean, seriously. Oh, anyways. All right, let's go to a quick break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Speedy knows best, right? Do you know best? Do I know best? Do you know best? I know best. We know best? I know best. Oh, anyways. Mike Milano tears his bicep and is out, possibly again for the season. We will get into that. Aaron Judge and his greatness. And a lot of new rules that the MLB is thinking about bringing into the game. A lot more to get into. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute
Are you ready to get loud?
with Tommy Scoops.
That is right. It is another Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops. And starting off right now with the MLB, Brewers' Christian Yelich will miss remainder of the season. Yelich, who hasn't played since July, will undergo season-ending back surgery after playing just 72 games this season. Shifting over now into some NFL news with the Falcons as they are placing kick returner Jakeem Grant on injured reserve list. And Grant, who was actually signed by the Atlanta on Saturday, actually injured his hamstring in practice and is now headed to IR. Lastly, the Bills are releasing wide receiver Chase Claypool. Claypool was actually acquired by the team in May and was placed on IR in August of 12th and is now free to find a new team after being released on an injury settlement. Now it's time for Scoops and Scores, as right now over in the MLB, the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead over the Orioles at the top of the fourth, and the Phillies have a 4-0 lead over the Nationals at the bottom of the third, with the Twins and Rangers expected to start any minute now. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. Kicking it back to the boys for the continuation of the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Good for both. Like what? Oh, I won't. I don't drink a lot of milk. Oh my God, that's a terrible laugh. 631 672 3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Mark. Not Marks, Mark. And my host, the Speedster. Speedy Pete. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including The Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey, every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website, Speedy, and look at Moses if you want to. I mean, he does look like Moses. All you have to do is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com and buy, I was about to say buys and guys and whatever, boys and girls, you guys got to go and check out Bovada. Ladies and gentlemen, go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com and hit our QR link on the top of our website, 100% on your first deposit. That means if you invest 100, you get 200. 200, you get 400. 400, you get 800. And so on and so on. I don't have to really repeat myself. All you have to do, and you could, by the way, you could bet on almost anything, including the president election. Speedy, are you going to bet on the election? Why not? You can care less. Oh, Speedy's not into it. All you have to do, by the way, you could also do this. You can withdraw from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. The only one out there that does this, no limitations on what state, except here in the tri-state, which you cannot use Bovada. You are in. You could bet anywhere. All you have to do is hit our link on our website. And by the way, if you like Fanatic, and you like to go and check out some of the Fanatic stuff that they have, if you go on our link on our website, you get 25% off by hitting our link on our website. And also StubHub. If you want to go to a football game this year and you want a percentage off, I don't know exactly how much it is. I think it's between 10 and 15% right now. Well, if you hit our link, you get 10 to 15% off of any tickets that you want to get, a concert, games, anything. All you got to do is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Speedy, do you like concerts? What kind of upcoming concert that you want to go see?
I haven't looked yet.
I mean, what's going on with you here? Are you
I have time to look at concerts.
Could you sing for us tonight?
No.
I mean, I want you to sing a Moses song. Could you do that for me?
They had only instrumental music during biblical times.
How do you know that? There it is. Let my people go. Put your hands up, Speedy. Put your hands up. There he goes.
More legitimate than your Moses DNA test.
Bills linebacker Matt Milano tore his bicep during Wednesday's practice and will be out until at least December. Milano returned to the field for the first time after suffering a major knee injury in Week 5 last season. Milano is 30 years old and is on his second year of his 3-year, $14.1 million deal. The Bills defense was still ranked 9th in yards per game, but were 27th against the run last season without Milano. The Bills are projected to win 10.5 games this season, even without Milano, tied for the third most in the NFL. Oh my God, this is a big loss. This is a huge loss for the Buffalo Bills. And I'm going to tell you why it's a huge loss. Any of you Bill fans, get your popcorn out because you're going to love this one. This secondary is one of the worst in the NFL. They have nothing. They lost their 2 top safeties last year and their 2 top corners in one offseason. Why? Because they're trying to save money, because they invested all their money in Josh Allen, as well as they should be. They have really no top-end wide receiver on this team, in this franchise. You're going into a season where you're going to depend on your front 7 and your offensive line to protect, and your running backs to run the ball, and Josh Allen to run the ball and keep the ball out of the opposing team's hands. That spells disaster for the Buffalo Bills. Disaster. And losing arguably your best defensive player and easily your best run stopper, you're in big trouble. Big trouble. Your defense is not even the best defense in the division, because the Jets are more than likely going to be there. Matthew Judon is no longer with the New England Patriots because he heads over there to Atlanta. Atlanta just added a pretty big piece. And Atlanta could be an elite defense this year with the additions that they've made, and obviously Bailey being there and changing that secondary. This Buffalo Bills team, which has depended on their defense for many, many years, is a shell of what they're going to be this coming season. A shell. And now you're putting a lot of pressure on Josh Allen, because Josh Allen is going to have to do more to win the close games. I do not believe this team is going to be putting up the numbers they put up last year with Diggs and even Gabe Davis. Now, they have good tight ends. They do. They have tight ends that could play. They have 2 young tight ends that could put up numbers. Knox is a good player. Who's the other kid? Kincaid, who played very well in the second half of the season. But you don't have guys that can separate themselves in the open field. You really don't. So now you're going to depend on Josh Allen's legs. And Josh Allen last year and over the last couple of years have been fighting injury after injury after injury. That it does. And if you lose Josh Allen, you're really done.
Oh, they're done.
You're really done. You gave Xavier Worthy away to the Chiefs. You gave your first-round draft pick to the Kansas City Chiefs to help them out to be or go for their 3rd Super Bowl in a row. It doesn't make any sense. You gave him Patrick Mahomes too. None of it makes sense. And this is an organization that is expected to make the playoffs, to win the division as they've done over the last 3 years, and have a coach that's on the hot seat. Say whatever you want. He's on the hot seat. And he's a good coach. He really is. He's a good coach, a good defensive coordinator. I remember him with the Carolina Panthers. He's a good coach. But they have not made it to the AFC title game. They have never been in a Super Bowl game. Josh Allen has a tremendous amount of pressure on him. And losing a guy like Matt Milano, who is a Long Island native. Yes, guys, he is a Hop Hog native. That's why I love him, by the way. But he is a Long Island native, and to lose him for a 2nd year in a row, well, you have nobody that can fill into that position. You really don't. A linebacker that good. It's like, say whatever you want about the Jets. If the Jets lose C.J. Mosley, as much as I like Johnson and some of the weapons and some of the guys that they brought in the offseason, losing C.J. Mosley, your captain, the leader of your team, and who's the captain and the leader of that defense? Milano is. Matt Milano is their leader. He's the leader of that defense. Losing a captain of that magnitude definitely sets this team back. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo goes 0-3 early into the season. I mean, their schedule is brutal. And this is a quarterback that is not going to be expected to take time off or take plays off. If he does that, this team has no chance against teams that they're lined up against early this season.
Yeah, it's interesting because you look at the way the Bills have drafted a lot in recent years. Like, they've done well at drafting a lot of these younger pass rushers, and even some of the young linebackers that replaced Milano last year in the second half of the season played well. But at the same time, like you're saying with Mosley, Milano is that bulk physical type linebacker that they're going to lack. Dorian Williams and Terrell Bernard are both good speed guys, but they don't have that guy in the middle that could be physical. There's a reason their run defense was 27th. That was a big reason. Their safeties got old. That was one of them, Micah Hyde and Poyer. But the other one was the fact that they didn't have Milano there. And their defensive line could only do so much against the first level, against those top offensive lines.
And their first game of the season is against Arizona, a better Arizona team. They're better than they were last year.
Yeah, Wes is looking good on his bat.
And guess what? Guess where they have to go? They got to go to Arizona. Mm-hmm. They got to go to Arizona and beat Arizona against a wide receiver that is, a lot of people think that he has a lot on his back. People have really bet against him because of who his father is, and a wide receiver that a lot of people thought, hey, maybe Neighbors was better than him, or maybe one of these other wide receivers were better than he was coming out of the draft. So you have a guy that is expected and has obviously a lot to prove in his first game of the season. I could see him putting on a show in week 1, putting on like 120 yards, 2 touchdowns against a defense that has no secondary, and a secondary that can't get at the running back. I mean, Arizona could win that game, absolutely win that game. And then Miami, are you kidding me? Miami's going to put up big numbers. So are they going to be able to compete with that offense? No, not a chance in hell. Jacksonville, there's a lot to prove this year. Trevor Lawrence, they got a lot of money. He needs to prove himself. Then Baltimore, Houston, the Jets, Tennessee, all teams that have been and gotten better.
Can't wait for the week 3 with Jacksonville, the Gabe Davis
It
revenge
doesn't make
game.
sense. I mean, I feel bad for Buffalo. I really do. I could see Buffalo going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0-6 in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and a lot of it will depend on the coaching too, because you're right. They have to.
Arizona,
Wes is
I'm
look
worried.
look good right
I'm
now.
worried.
6.5 covering that.
That Sunday night football game at 8:15 in Arizona, I mean, that's must watch because I could see Arizona shocking the country and knocking off the Buffalo Bills because the Buffalo Bills, I don't know how they stopped the run over there. And by the way, Arizona last year was a pretty good running team.
Yep. And that's where I'm saying it's going to rely on creative coaching. Sean McDermott, if there's one criticism I've had of him as a head coach, is sometimes he's relying on his talent too much. And it's gotten to this point with this Bills defense where it's going to be very hard to be able to do that. I like their pass rush still. And like I said, I still think their young linebackers are pretty good, but it's going to be hard for those to replace the concepts of somebody that Milano is going to bring. And Fish, I was texting you about this earlier. Like, if there's one position that the Bills have not drafted very well at all, it's been their corners. And that's going to be a really hard thing for them to replace. Taron Johnson's fine in the slot, but that's really it.
Who's taking over from Milano this year?
It's Dorian Williams, who was a second-year player. He played well last year, and then Terrell Bernard, a kid from Baylor, who was on that Baylor team that won the Big 12 a couple of years ago.
You're going to bet on this game?
Yeah, both of them are fast. Both of them can tackle on the sides, but they're not great when it comes to their more physical play that Milano is. And that's where I think in a longer season you're going to have
What
to
has been Buffalo's strength all these years defensively? Their physicality, right? Their physicality. They have no physicality on the secondary, and they just lost their most physical player.
Right.
So how does this work for them this year? You're going to depend on second-string wide receivers, tight ends that could really take it to the next level. But even with that, teams are going to know that. And what a team's going to do, they're going to make them do things that they're not very comfortable doing, and that's running the ball. And I'm going to say this right now. They had a very good season last year running the ball. They finally had a guy that who broke 1,200 yards. I do not believe that's going to happen this year because teams are going to make them one-dimensional. They're going to tell them, okay, beat us in the air. Beat us in the air. Go ahead. Because you don't have Stephon Diggs. You don't have Gabe Davis. Beat us in the air.
Yeah, you're going to have to hope that Keon Coleman can learn a route tree. Otherwise,
I like Keon Coleman, but you're putting a lot of pressure on a guy that was drafted early in the second round, and you had a chance to draft Xavier Worthy, who creates a lot of space and could open up the field with arguably the guy that has the best arm in football. I mean, Josh Allen does have the best arm in football. Everybody keeps saying Pat Mahomes, but Josh Allen was the one that I saw throw 100 yards down the field. I saw him do that and did it accurately. So I don't think there's many guys that could do that in the NFL.
No, not at that distance. But Fish, we also discussed this earlier too. Like Josh Allen has also very turnover prone at certain points too. And with the defense not being as good as it is, like he can't have those same kind of games. A lot of his turnovers are in bulk. That's why I don't think it's as big of a deal to, as a lot of people say, oh, he's an overrated quarterback because of that. Because a lot of them are in the same game. But nevertheless, with the defense not being as good now, you're really going to have to make sure that you can be able to control that more. That's why I do think they will run the ball, and the tight end offense, like you were saying, Fish, underneath stuff is going to be a big concept. And Josh Allen is going to have to learn that.
It's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work because, again, one of the strengths of the Miami Dolphins is stopping the run. One of the strengths of the New York Jets this year, more than any year, because now they're going to Johnson got bigger, and Johnson could stop the run, and you can use it on the outside to go at the quarterback. I think they're going to use Johnson more in the middle of the field. Quentin Williams, this defense is much better than it was last year, even if they don't have Hassan Reddick. They're going to be better this year. They're faster and more knowledgeable in this Robert Saleh defense. So they're going to make Buffalo beat them on the outside. And I just don't trust that this Buffalo Bills team on the outside is anywhere close to what they were over the last couple of years. And here's another thing. And you look at the tenacity of this Buffalo Bills team over the years. You lose your defensive coordinator after last year. He decided to step down. You bring in another defensive coordinator. Now your defense and your offense, you bring in another offensive coordinator in the middle of the season. It obviously helped them because they wouldn't have been even a playoff team last year if they didn't, Josh Allen and him didn't click.
Oh, yeah.
Brady actually helped Josh Allen in the second half of the season. But again, this offense is going to be one-dimensional. And teams, look at the Jets. Say whatever you want about the Jets. The Jets for years were one-dimensional. They were a running team, and they couldn't throw the ball because, I mean, Braylon Edwards was a good guy, but He wasn't in every down. He wasn't every down wide receiver. I don't care. Santonio Holmes, he was great with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He wasn't good with the Jets. He had one good season with the Jets when the Jets gave him that extension. That's it. I mean, do we want to go through the wide receivers the Jets have had? They had one good year with Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker when they both were dominant because Mr. Fitzpatrick, or what did he call himself? I mean, seriously, Mr. Bearded Lady. I mean, he's great. He's very good when it comes to the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
The NFL Network.
He's definitely the best personality.
I love him.
Thursday Night Crew. Or
love him in his
it is.
commercials. I love everything about him. But honestly, if you sit here today and you look at where the Jets and how the Jets have transitioned, even Miami, look how fast they are. Are you kidding? You added Odell Beckham to this offense. You have Odell Beckham, Tyreek Hill, and Waddle running the ball. How are they going to be able to compete with that team if they run and play the way they did last year? They're not going to be able to put as many points up. You're going to depend on Josh Allen's legs. Josh Allen's going to get beaten up. I mean, Buffalo, and I'm going to say this, everybody still thinks Buffalo is going to win. They have no chance of winning that division. None. Losing Milano, even that bet is even solid right now. If you're a betting man, I would bet against 10.5. I think they win 9 games. I don't think they even win game number 1 against Arizona in Arizona.
This will be a very happy man.
I think that this is a big problem. There's a big problem right now. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan, I'm sorry to say that, because losing a guy, the heart and soul of that defense is a significant. Look at what happened to their defense last year when they lost him in the middle of the season, or early in the season. I think it was week 6?
It was week 5 when they played in London against the Jags. And for like a whole month, they were really bad. And then they got good in the second half.
They did not play the same way. They had to change their defense.
Right.
And they brought up their safeties. They don't have that anymore. Those safeties are no longer part of they have a bunch of young players playing those positions. You cannot bet on those players to play as well as the starters did last year. If I were again, I'm going to go back to their division. Their division, even the Patriots. The Patriots are going to be terrible this year. They're expected to get a top 3 pick next year. They're expected that. And I love their corner that they drafted in Gonzalez. I think Gonzalez last year, losing him, look what he did to Garrett Wilson when he played the Jets. He shut down Garrett Wilson. I think Gonzalez is a star. I think he's a star.
They have some good defensive pieces, but it won't matter if your offense is not on the field.
Well, again, are you going to trust Jared Mayo? Judon, your best defensive player, decided, hey, you know what? I don't want to play for him. Trade me to the Atlanta Falcons. And then they got a 3rd-round draft pick. We'll see how those picks work out over there with New England. This is not Bill Belichick's Patriots anymore. So, if I were a Patriot fan and I was a Buffalo Bills fan, I would be worried when you have to play the Jets twice this year if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. And you have to play a Miami team, which I think Mike McDaniels is the best coach in this division. It's not even an argument. And if you argue that, you're an idiot. And when we get Matt O'Leary on the show, I have my own thoughts, and I'm sure he has his own thoughts too. Bobby O. Sala, who is taking receipts, baby. Or well, maybe we'll flush those receipts in the toilet after the season. But hey,
let me double down on what you were saying, Errol, before we get out of this right here. I want to bring up one of Speedy's favorite guys, because he has to be, because he won championships with the Giants, Antonio Pierce. If you remember, the Giants defense did not work nearly as well without that middle linebacker presence. That it doesn't matter how talented the replacements of Milano are. You're the captain of the defensive front 7. You're putting guys in position to be successful because of what the defensive coordinator has taught you during the week. You have to be like a coach on the field. Now, there's safeties are doing that for the back 7 in passing situation, but if you can't stop the run, and that seems to be a major issue, then you have to be able to bring the safeties up like you were saying they did last year. If they can't do both of those things, they're going to get into shootouts. And here's the problem. If they're running 12 and 13 personnel and running the football all the time, how are you supposed to do that? Even at the high school level, if you're playing a team that's a run-first offense, the way to beat them is to get up on them real quick, because then they can't run their offense. And that's the biggest. You make them play, as Belichick always did, make them play left-handed. You make them do what they're not good at. Wing T in high school, we see all the time. You just get up on them a couple of scores, take the ball first, get up on them. They can't run what they want to run, and they get out of it. The Bills are in a recipe for failure. I'd be shocked if they make 500. I think they're the third best team in this
I think
division.
they win more than that because I think Josh Allen's a lot better than you think he is. I just think that you're going to depend on. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hurt early in the season. And that's the problem when you're putting everything on your young. Well, you're a veteran quarterback, but he's still fairly young. I mean, Josh Allen's 29 years old. He's still fairly young, and you expect many, many years of Josh Allen's talent. If you put him in harm's way, he's had neck problems, he's had back problems. I mean, you're and arm problems over the years. I think you definitely have to worry for him. And that offensive line, not really that good last year. So very interested to see what the Buffalo Bills are going to be this season. We'll see early this season on Sunday Night Football against Arizona in Arizona. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to content creator, the host, and very gracious as always. And we love him. And he's one of my favorite Jet guys. He is my favorite Jet guy, Matt O'Leary. But first, our sports minute. Minute. Speedy? Minute? You like that? That's French. I'll say minute. Minute. With Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
That's right. Tommy Scoops back again for another Sports Minute. And jumping right now into some NFL, the Rams head coach Sean McVay has given an update on wide receiver Cooper Kupp. After Kupp missed today's practice, McVay said that his absence was excused and Kupp is injury-free and feeling good. In other NFL news, over in Dallas, Cowboys QB Dak Prescott has had good talks on contract extensions. Prescott, who is playing on his final year of his contract, says the two sides have had good contract extensions and will be getting his contract soon in the coming days. And lastly, over in the NBA, free agent guard Kevon Harris is signing a training camp deal with the Clippers. Harris, who has played only 36 NBA games in just 2 seasons with the Magic, will compete for a roster spot with the Clippers. Now going into Scoops' scores over in the MLB, the Orioles currently have a 4-1 lead over the Red Sox at the bottom of the 7th, while at the top of the 7th, the Phillies have a 9-2 lead over the Nationals, while the Rangers have a 2-1 lead over the Twins at the top of the 2nd. That's currently all the time I have for you guys right now. Kicking it back to the boys for their next guest on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
I'm not licking anyone. Enjoy. 99% of the world would too.
You like this, Matt? Little Mace.
I love it.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out all our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. It is hot, boy. I can't stand this weather. It drains me, guys. It drains me. The heat, the texture of the sky, Speedy. You like that, Speedy? Texture?
How do you feel the texture of the sky?
I have the powers. I'm super. I've got the power. Look at that.
Why are you here?
Put your hands in it.
Why are you here?
Well, you don't want me to be here? You want me to leave?
If you're a superhero.
Do you want me to leave? I'll leave right now. You want to take over the show?
Aren't you supposed to have a hidden identity as a superhero?
Well, you know, why you want to hide? I'm not here to hide. I'm here to be me. Are you here to be you?
I don't know, but
you don't know it? You're Speedy Petey. You're the great one. I don't know. You're the greatest. Look at him. There he goes. Anyways, this guy is like Superman when it comes to New York Jets, as far as I'm concerned. And I love him, and I'm happy to have him on. We're now talking to Jets content creator, the host, Mr. O'Leary. Matt, what's up, man?
Guys, thank you so much for having me. Excited to come on and talk some Jets football with you.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, I think you are my favorite Jet guy. I'm not going to lie to you. I know a lot of the Jet guys. They've been on our show. One of them actually started with us and is doing pretty good things right now on ESPN and all that other stuff. But hey, you know what? You're my favorite. I love you, Matt. And to get into this with the New York Jets, there's a guy that I don't love. Okay, there's a guy that's coaching his team that I just absolutely think doesn't know what he is doing. And that's Bobby O. Salo. And I call him Bobby O because he just, doesn't like to use receipts. And if he does like receipts, it's receipts that we don't want. So what are your thoughts so far? I know you've gone to a couple of practices. You've seen him on the field. What have you seen this year that you didn't see last year when it comes to Robert Saleh?
I think that's going to be very tough to tell right now. I don't think we'll be able to know until the regular season if anything with Robert Saleh has changed. For me, I think the biggest criticism you could have of Robert Saleh right now is his in-game management. I think that's an area where he would need to improve, and the discipline on this team with costly penalties. So I think it's too early to tell right now if there was a change. I understand the frustration with Robert Saleh. I think that he's in a very high pressure year going into the 2024 season with the Jets, where they need to win and be successful this year, because if not, he's probably out of a job. I do think he deserves a look with a real quarterback this year in Aaron Rodgers. He's dealt with a pretty bad quarterback situation his first 3 years with the New York Jets. So I think that is something he has going for him, that opportunity. But, it's, as I mentioned, a very high pressure season for him going into the season.
So what have you seen? There's a lot of rumors with the offense, who's going to actually call the plays, all the Nathaniel Hackett drama. What have you seen so far with the offense? Is it mainly him? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it anyone else in training camp so far?
Yeah, so Nathaniel Hackett's the main offensive coordinator, but you could tell Aaron Rodgers has a lot of influence, which I think is fine. When you have a quarterback who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, I think you do what he's comfortable with. Last year, we saw in the preseason him audible against the New York Giants and hit Garrett Wilson on a fade route for a touchdown. And that was something I thought we were going to see a lot of last year. Unfortunately, we only got Aaron Rodgers for 4 plays, so didn't really get an opportunity to see that come to fruition in the regular season. But it is something that I think we get to see this year, his connection with Garrett Wilson. But Aaron Rodgers runs the show offensively, and I'm okay with that.
There is a position that I believe the Jets are one of the best at, and that is running back. And by the way, Breece Hall looks sensational, I've heard, at practice. And one guy that looks really, really good is Braylon Allen. And he's a guy that's 20 years old. He was the youngest player drafted in this year's draft class at 20 years old. I do believe Breece Hall in 2 years will be a free agent. I think the Jets have a very good, there's a very good possibility they could part ways with Breece Hall. And really, Braylon Allen could be the next big thing for the New York Jets, because they have to pay, obviously, different players, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner and all these other guys that they have. They have to part ways with one of these guys. What have you seen with Braylon Allen, and what are your thoughts to the future at this position?
Yeah, with Braylon Allen, I mean, he looks the part already in the NFL. When he gets to the second level, he's very, very difficult to bring down. Very different from Breece Hall. I think he complements him well. Breece Hall, when he gets to the second level, he's hard to keep up with. He hits his stride and is kind of just off and running. With Braylon Allen, he's looking for a linebacker or a DB to run over, and he's going to put his shoulder down and make it difficult to bring down. With Breece Hall's future here, it's a very tough position, right? Like at running back, they don't have a long shelf life. So there's, as you mentioned, there's a real possibility that he might not be here in a couple of years. They could also take the franchise tag approach, but a lot of that's going to be contingent on what happens with Braylon Allen and his development. But for the short term, I mean, I think that's a really nice 1-2 punch. I am expecting a really big season for Breece Hall this year, but Braylon Allen's going to play a big factor, especially late in games when they're trying to wind the clock and just keep opposing defenses on the field.
So one of the other issues they had last year, in addition to obviously the quarterback play being really bad, was the fact that outside of Garrett Wilson, they didn't really have a great number 2 option with the wide receiver. Allen Lazard had a lot of drop issues. Now they bring in Mike Williams and Malachi Corley in the draft too. What have been your impressions so far of the second and third tier wide receivers in this training camp?
Yeah, so for Malachi Corley, I think he's similar to Braylon Allen. He's someone who is hard to bring down, and because he's so physical. Not the best route runner, but he's kind of just like, you want to get him the ball in space and let him do his damage yards after the catch. We haven't seen a ton of Mike Williams yet, but when he's healthy, he'll add something to the Jets offense that they didn't really have, which was a nice, like, big red zone target. Allen Lazard was supposed to be that for this team. and unfortunately just has not looked like the same guy that he was in Green Bay in his first year with the Jets. He's been better at camp, but it's just been very up and down. He had a rough day today. He had a ball that went off his hands and got tipped up for an interception, miscommunication on a route with Aaron Rodgers. So the ball was thrown behind him, and Rodgers was obviously frustrated with that. But a healthy Mike Williams is a significant upgrade for this wide receiver room.
As everybody knows, we are talking to Jets content creator, Mr. Matt O'Leary. You know, Matt, you look at the Garrett Wilson situation. There were stories coming out of camp that him and Aaron Rodgers weren't getting along. They were arguing. And then Aaron Rodgers kind of shrugged it off and said, that's football. This is going to happen. And Garrett Wilson, obviously, Robert Saleh threw under the bus because we all know who runs the show, Aaron Rodgers. He said, oh, he's electrifying, but, you know, sometimes he needs to pay attention to the situation for what it is. You know, your thoughts to Aaron Rodgers and these developments and this conversation that everybody's saying that he is not getting along with Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I think that couldn't be further from the truth. I think they're just two really competitive guys who are a little bit animated when they talk, but it's more of, or at least I've taken it as more of a trying to get it right. They're both perfectionists and really want to compete at a high level and have this demand for excellence. So I don't look at it as they're two guys not getting along. I look at it as two guys who are trying to get on the same page and be the best versions of themselves. And I think Rodgers knows in order to be successful here in New York, he needs to be on the same page with Garrett Wilson, who's his best pass catcher. And Garrett Wilson knows the last 2 years he's put up production, but with some pretty crappy quarterback play. So with the improved quarterback play, I think Garrett's due for a big year and eventually a big payday. So I think they will be on the same page this year, and I think there's going to be big production from Garrett.
Matt, you've been over there at the camp. What is the consensus thought of these players believing that Hassan Reddick will be there in the beginning of the season? Do they care that Hassan Reddick is a part of this roster? And do you believe Hassan Reddick missing all this time hurts the Jets if he comes back?
Yeah, so I thought today we got a really good answer from CJ Mosley when he was asked about this. He was kind of just putting an emphasis on the guys that are there trying to, get themselves ready for, for the season, and they can't really worry about the Hassan Reddick situation because they don't have control over it. And, from the player's perspective, I think that's the right way to look at this. I think, they obviously understand that it's a business, and eventually I do think Reddick gets in here. I'm a little bit worried about how long this has taken just because, it's only a few weeks away from the start of the regular season. And I worry about like him potentially pulling like a hamstring or like some sort of soft tissue injury if he's not back in football shape right away. That's a little bit of a concern for me, but I mean, it's a very tough test for the Jets right out of the gate going up against San Francisco, the defending NFC champions. And I'd like to see the Jets at their full strength in that game, and having Hassan Reddick would make a huge difference in that.
So what would you pay him if you were Joe Douglas? How many years and how much per year? Because he wants 25 to 28, but it doesn't seem like the Jets are going to do that.
Yeah, I don't really love the idea of giving Hassan Reddick a crazy long-term deal, but to me, I think his biggest thing is right now he doesn't have any guaranteed money left on this 1 year remaining on the deal. I'm comfortable with upping his guarantees. And even if you have to tack on an additional year in 2025, I would be good with that because that kind of aligns with this window that you have with Aaron Rodgers. But when you get into having to pay him in 2026 and beyond, that's when you run into some issues with having to pay other guys on the roster. Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, all due contracts very soon here. But I think somewhere around the $25 million mark is about fair. The comparable contract, I think, is Danielle Hunter, who got 2 years, right around $50 million. I think just a touch under, and in the 40s in guaranteed money. I think if they were offering him something similar, I think that's a fair and comparable deal for someone of his talent.
Will McDonald is a guy that I absolutely loved when they drafted him. A lot of people took shots at Joe Douglas when he drafted him at 15, when they could have, hey, you know what? They could have brought Gonzalez the way he fell. As good as he looked with the New England Patriots, I think Will McDonald is a guy that I think could really become a superstar in this league. I think his ability and his bending, what they said about him, how he bends around the corners, that's one of the most important things when it comes to pass rushing. And now Hassan Reddick, if he does start or he doesn't come this season early, come into the season early, they could use a lot of Will McDonald. We've seen Robert Saleh over the last couple of years with the New York Jets. Same thing with Jermaine Johnson. His first year, he was only used on third down. Will McDonald wasn't used a lot last year as a rookie. I think that this kid is going to be used a lot more, and I've heard he's gotten bigger, and he's looked really, really good on the field. What have you seen when it comes to Will McDonald?
Yeah, I definitely think Will McDonald is going to have an increased role. I believe he only played 19% of snaps last year, which is just a insanely low number. I think that it improved significantly this year. I don't know if the Jets view him as an every down player yet at this point, though. In first team reps with Hassan Reddick being absent, they've used Michael Clemens a lot in that role. And I've seen a lot of Will McDonald running with the twos and then working in with the ones in obvious passing situations, which is kind of how I would think they would use him this year, kind of as a third down specialist in the second half of games when they have a lead. I think that's a useful role for him. And eventually I think their goal is for him to be an every down player. But at this point, I think he gets pushed around a little bit too much in the run game at his size to be an every down player. So I think he's still a little bit of a work in progress, but a player who has a very high ceiling as a pass rusher.
So their first round pick, Olu Fashanu, what have been your impressions of him so far in the training camp in the preseason?
Yeah, he's been fantastic in my opinion. I think, he looked good in the game against the Commanders at left tackle. And then this week they've been using him all at right tackle this week and, running with the twos and then getting in with the ones. And I would fully anticipate him to play on the right side in this preseason game coming up this week. And I think that's important to get him reps on both sides because, obviously on the left, you have Tyron Smith, who misses time seemingly every year, but Morgan Moses, who you brought in to play right tackle, he's 33 years old also, had offseason surgery and missed time last year. So between the two of those guys, I think there's a chance we have to see Olu play on both sides of the line this year. And just getting him up to speed and getting him comfortable at right tackle, I think is important.
First of all, I couldn't believe he was sitting there at 11. I could not believe he was sitting there. I think a lot of teams made a big mistake. Tennessee made a mistake. I understand they like the bigger guy, but this guy didn't give up one sack in 3 years. He played against Ohio State, Michigan, top defenses in the country, SEC, top end, Big 10, Big Pac-12, whatever. He's played them. He dominated. And I've heard he's been throwing people around at practice. So he's that type of player. I think he's going to be, I do believe he will start as the right tackle this year. I think he takes the job away from Morgan Moses one way or another this year. And eventually this guy is going to be a star player for the New York Jets. But you look at this offensive line, and again, this is a rebuilt offensive line. I think Tippmann, I think he's going to be a star. We saw him at the guard position last year. He was one of the best. When it came to PPR, he was one of the best in the league. At the end of the season, he played a little bit of center. We know what he can do. I think you have three guys. If Elijah Veras Tucker stays healthy, if you look at the games that he was and as dominated as he was when he did play, keep him away from the Broncos. Keep him away from Denver. But besides that, when he is in the game, he dominates. You have Tippmann, and now you have Fashanu. I mean, you have three guys that you can build your future around no matter who the quarterback is. Tell me what you have seen with the depth that the Jets added in the offseason when it came to the draft and free agency that stands out from last year.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, is having the three young pieces on this line that you could potentially build around and getting Vera Tucker back at guard, his natural position, instead of having him bounce around between guard and tackle, I think was a huge goal for them that they were able to accomplish. Joe Tippmann's a player that I really like a lot. I think he's extremely athletic, and getting him in a comfortable position instead of bouncing between guard and center, I think is going to be really important for him as well. Those are three guys who, can start to make up this line. And when you look at the comparison from last year to this year, having essentially Olu Fashanu, who's, the 11th overall pick, probably should have been a top 10 pick in the draft, waiting in the wings to come in if there's injury. The Jets didn't have that luxury. They were turning to, like a Max Mitchell or a Carter Warren, and all due respect to those guys, but they're just not at the same level that a Olu Fashanu is. So the Jets have better depth this year than they did a year ago and have a much higher ceiling as an offensive line. And honestly, for a guy like Olu Fashanu, who better to learn from than two veterans in Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith?
So any position battles of any position that you think there could be some sleepers, some younger players, or maybe some veteran guys that just signed as practice squad guys that you think could win jobs?
Yeah, so a lot of it feels like a lot of the Jets battles are pretty set in stone, but honestly, some things that I've noticed on the defensive line in particular, like they're going to carry probably 10 guys, but you bring in Tack McKinley, who you pick off the scrap heap, who was at one point a first round pick from Atlanta in 2017, but he's had a really strong camp and has stood out as a veteran. And then two undrafted free agents I thought have looked good so far in camp, and Eric Watts and Leonard Taylor. Leonard Taylor had a sack, and I believe Eric Watts actually had a sack as well in this game against Washington in the preseason. And they both have stood out. So it's going to be very, very difficult for them to make the roster just because of how deep the defensive line group is, and assuming Hassan Reddick gets back in that group as well. But it's hard not to notice the Jets defensive line when you go there and watch them practice each week. And those three guys are a big part of that too.
Matt, and by the way, we are speaking to Jets content creator, Mr. Matt O'Leary. He's been a friend of the show. I love all the stuff that he does with his podcasts, and he's an Islander fan too. So I even love him more because, we're both Islander fans. Nothing to brag about with the Islanders this offseason. But hey, you know what? We do the pregame show for the Islanders on 103.9. Maybe we'll get Matt on the show and help us out a couple of shows. I know you'll love that. And a lot of the Islander fans love us, and we will talk. We'll definitely speak. And we're doing a live show at Miller's Ale House here in Lake Grove. I would love for you to come down. A lot of Jet fans are going to be there on Thursday night, the first game of the season, Kansas City and Baltimore. It's going to be big. They're promoting it over there. It's the first time Miller's Ale House has ever done a live radio show. We're very excited to do it. They're excited to get us in there. So, Matt, hey, there'll be Jet fans there. We should definitely talk about that. Maybe you come down and, add a little bit of content for us. But there's a lot with this New York Jet team. There's a lot of pressure on this team this year. And I don't care what anybody says. Aaron Rodgers, this is his best team. Out of all the teams he's ever played for, those Green Bay Packers, even when he won the Super Bowl in 2010, with the defense ranked 7th or 6th in the league, this defense could be a top 5 defense. This offense, the offensive line with the talent that they have, could be one of the best offensive lines in football. You have all these weapons, these running backs, these wide receivers, the tight ends. I mean, Jeremy Rucker could, even though there's some situation going on right now that he's missed some camp or whatever, Rucker could have a significant part of this offense this year, Long Island native. Does it worry you with all the pressure that they have that this team could go out flat against San Francisco?
A little bit, right? Like, I think that's their toughest test, and it's the first game of their hardest game on the schedule is in week 1. So it'd be a little disappointing if they came out flat in that game, but I don't think it's the end of the world if they lose that game. Just because their schedule lightens up a little bit after that. They go on the road to Tennessee, and then you're at home against New England. And I think there's an opportunity for them to stack some wins. But obviously, you want to get out and put yourself in a situation where you're stacking wins early in the year to build yourself some cushion. But, I don't think I'll be hitting the panic button if they were to drop the game against San Francisco. But I think the Jets are good enough, both offensively and defensively, that they could hang with just about any team in the NFL. So I would expect it to be a good one on week 1 on the road in San Fran.
It would scare me right now. If you look at their schedule, it is brutal. Their first 3 games, you're playing in 13 days, you're playing in San Francisco, in Nashville, and then going to play your first home game on Thursday Night Football at 8:15. That's a lot. That's a lot expecting from a team that only won 7 games last year with Aaron Rodgers coming off a big Achilles injury. That should scare you if you're a Jet fan. That scares me. And you're playing still a great San Francisco team. By the way, Aaron Rodgers' record in San Francisco is not good. And you're going to Nashville with this is newly improved team, a new coach, but a defense that can explode at the line. This is a good defense. And a New England team, even though they're not as good, they lost Matthew Judon. He goes to Atlanta. He goes to Atlanta. This is still a team that could beat the Jets because we've seen this before, and we know this as Jets. The New England Patriots always have this mentality against the Jets is whip their ass, whip their ass, whip their ass. Are you worried about playing almost 13 days, 3 games?
A little bit. I don't think it's. I think if some of the opponents were a little bit different, maybe I'd feel like if their divisional game opened up against either Buffalo or Miami, I think I'd feel a little bit different. But I understand that the past history against New England kind of scares us. But I look at that roster, and whether it's Jacoby Brissett or Drake May, I think it's going to be a real uphill battle for them offensively. They lack a lot of talent on that side of the ball. So while it's obviously not ideal to play that many games so early on in the season, I think they catch a little bit of a break that it's against a weaker opponent in New England. And for Tennessee, I think that, with Will Levis, they have a young quarterback there. The Jets defense has fared well against young quarterbacks. They've wreaked havoc against CJ Stroud, who was fantastic last year. So even if offensively the Jets are getting off to slow starts, I trust the defense enough to take care of business against 2 teams that I think they're better than.
It's 10 days, actually. It's not 13 days. It's September 9th, September 15th, and September 19th. That's 3 games in 10 days. So Jet fans, in 10 days, the Jets could be 0-3, they could be 2-1, or they could be 3-0. I mean, they could be 1-3 or 1-2. I mean, they could be any one of those records. I mean, that would work. I'm worried about that because we're expecting a big season, and something tells me they're gonna fall into a wall, or they're gonna run into a wall. I hope not. I really hope, because I'm a Jet fan and I'm tired of talk. I speak the truth on my show. I'm not gonna beat around the bush like a lot of these Jet guys. I tell you how I feel, and I'm not gonna lie. And Jet fans they've hated me in many different ways on TikTok and my takes on the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he's the greatest quarterback of this era. Even better than Tom Brady. Yes, you've heard it. I've had my take on it. I've made my points on why I think he's better than Tom Brady. Not winning, but statistics-wise, I think he's better than Tom Brady. I just worry that this guy has not played a full season in almost a year and a half. That to me is alarming. So I don't know. We've seen what Deshaun Watson could do. We know what he can do behind closed doors. But we know what he can do also on the football field. He just hasn't been a shell of himself since he left the Texans. So I just worry about that when we're putting everything in Rodgers' hands and saying, you know what, Rodgers, you're the leader, you're the coach, you're the commander, you're everything. Go out there and win us a football game. So that will worry me, man. I'm worried. So
I get it. I hope they ease your tensions with some early season wins. Hopefully that make you feel a little bit more confident.
Nothing is confident when it comes to the New York Jets. I mean, I've never got a chance to see them win a Super Bowl, play in a Super Bowl. Either of you, Matt. I mean, we have been souring Jet fans, and it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter who the head coach is. It doesn't matter what the defense puts up when it comes to what they have, or even Hall of Famers. In the last, 6 years, we've seen 3-4 Jets go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, compared to the
20 years overdue, but yeah.
I mean, as a Jet fan, you should be excited about that. But actually saying to yourself, we have all these guys that have been pretty good. I think we've had more guys go to the Hall of Fame in the last 5 years than the New England Patriots. And look how many Super Bowl championships they've had.
Well,
so
you can never be confident as a Jets fan
I would worry.
after what happened last year when you were so sure they were going to beat the Vikings with our friend Pete Bursick, and then they go on a 7-game losing streak.
Listen, the 2 things that I can remember that Jet fans or even analysts talk about with the New York Jets is the butt fumble, and I think they're ghosts. I think they're ghosts out here. So I wonder what Aaron's going to say when he says, I think I'm high. Where am I?
Hopefully we don't get one of those viral moments on national TV. We're due for a break from that.
I can see, where's the darkness? I need to get under that tent. Odell Beckham praying or praising the tents over there, or the nets over there. I mean, seriously, here in New York, it's just been absolute funniness, and it's been a comedy show for Giants and Jet fans. So hopefully we don't see a comedy show this year. There's one comedy show I can say that isn't funny, and that's your show. Keep up the good work, man. You are a fantastic Jets guy. I'm not kidding. I like you out of all the guys that we see on podcasts. And I do think that you're real. I think that you really get down in depth what you're talking about with the Jets. And I mean, and I'm not taking shots at all the other guys. I just telling you what I think. Okay. And then they can hate me for that too. Listen, my armpits smell good, but if I'm sweating, they would smell, right? I mean, on your show, it doesn't matter if I spray myself or not. It's clean. It's a good smell. It's not an odor. So that's a good thing. I mean, I'm probably thinking that I'm freaking crazy, but I am a little nuts. But Matt, I would love for you to come down to Miller's Ale House. I think the Jet fans would. We will be doing a lot of things with the fans over there. They're very excited. Miller's Ale House, Lake Grove, it's the busiest Miller's Ale House in the tri-state. So we're expecting a big turnout, and it'd be good for you, man. Where do you live, Matt?
I'm in the South Shore of Long Island in the Babylon area, so not too far.
Come out, man. I think it'll be fun. Speedy will reach out to you. He'll send you all the information. I think you should come out. It'll be really, really fun. You'll get some pints and you get a drink and have a good time. I don't drink, but I'll tell you this. We're going to put on a great show, and we're going to have everybody laughing. Speedy's going to be doing a couple of twists, dances, right?
No, I'm not.
No dancing? How about the Rocket Cakes? Could we see some of that?
There'll be no room with the Rocket Cakes to Miller's Ale House.
You have to dance on the bar. How about that?
Definitely not.
Well, if I do it, you do it.
No.
Well, maybe Matt will do it.
All right.
We'll all do it.
Let's not.
Matt, you could do it if you want. I'm not doing it.
One of us is.
Yeah, one of us have to. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do the worm. How's that, Speedy?
You can do the worm all you want.
Doesn't he look like Moses? Doesn't he look like? I mean, look at him.
More legitimate than your Moses DNA test.
Look at him. Let my people go. Look at that.
There you go. You got a Jets meme.
Unbelievable.
Anyways, Matt, we'll talk. I definitely would like you to come. Babylon, my girlfriend lives down there. I mean, she lives in North Babylon. I used to live in West Babylon, right behind WBLI, Little A Snick Road, McGaw Place. I lived there for 5 years. I miss that place. It was a small place, but it is what it is. I lived my life, Speedy. Did you live your life? You don't know anything. What do you know? Have you lost yourself tonight? I don't know. There you go. He doesn't know. Anyways, Matt O'Leary, you are fantastic. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me, and absolutely, we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Matt's coming. We got Matt.
There you go.
All right. We're working on some other guys to come on the show, by the way. I'm working on an athlete to come down to do a live interview. So we'll see what happens. Another athlete that's waiting, Gareon Conley. But before we invite Gareon on, I mean, Speedy, you're losing it tonight, man. You don't know anything, do you? Are you just like lost? Did you sleep last night?
I did.
How much did you sleep? Come on. Did you get your beauty sleep?
No, I wouldn't say that.
What's your beauty sleep? How much hours?
That depends, but
wait,
we don't have enough time to discuss.
Yeah, we have enough time. Don't
We have
worry.
a guest waiting.
I am asking you, what is
Speedy after dark is later.
What is your beauty sleep? Give me a beauty sleep. Give me an hour.
7 or 8.
7 or 8?
Yeah.
My beauty sleep is 5. If I could sleep 5 hours, I got my beauty sleep. It's good. Okay. I mean, I have sleep apnea. Anyways, I think we're all up for that, right, Speedy?
I don't know.
You don't know nothing. Anyways, when we come back, thank you to Matt O'Leary. When we come back, we will be talking to former Raiders and Texans cornerback Gareon Conley here on the Sports Loudmouth. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute
Are you ready to get loud?
with Tommy Scoops.
For the third time today, it's Tommy Scoops bringing you guys the Sports Minute. And over in the NFL, Saints head coach Dennis Allen confirms running back Alvin Kamara is not holding out. After missing team practice with Allen, said it is not contract related and his absence is likely due to his back tightness, which actually held him out of Tuesday's practice. In other NFL news, Eagles offensive guard Tyler Steen has been ruled out of the preseason game, and Steen was actually carted off the field with an ankle injury today in the matchup versus the Patriots and will miss the remainder of today's game. And lastly, Bengals running back Chris Evans is out for the remainder of the season. After being started off during today's practice with the Bears, Evans suffered a torn tendon in his knee and will be out for 9 months, missing the upcoming NFL season. Now going into scoops or scores. Over in the MLB, the Orioles have a 5-1 lead over the Red Sox going into the bottom of the 8th, while the Phillies have a big 10-3 lead over the Nationals at the bottom of the 7th, and the Twins and Rangers are both tied up at 2 apiece heading in to the top of the 3rd inning. That's all the time I have for you guys right now. Kicking it back to the boys for their next guest on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Not working. I don't care.
That was Speedy, by the way. Now it's our team.
Let's not.
Let's not. 631 672 3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Aaron Marks, my co-host, the speedster, Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Before we get our second guest on the show, we're very excited to get him on the show. Check out our website. Hit our link, Bovada. Hit our QR code, 100% on your first deposit. That means if you have $100, you're going to have 200. If you have 200, you'll have 400, 400, 800. All. Double the amount if you hit our QR code on our website. You can withdraw from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, the only betting company out there, including FanDuel and DraftKings. They're the only ones that do it. And all you have to do is go to our website. But no limitations on what state, except here in the tri-state. It doesn't work here in the tri-state. I don't know why. But here, that's what we're doing. Go check us out. Bet anywhere. All you have to do is click the link on our website. A guy that doesn't like to hit links, and if he does, I'm looking forward to seeing what link he's going to click this coming season. We're now talking to former Raiders and Texans cornerback for the first time on our show, Gareon Conley. Gareon, what's up, man?
Fire. That's fire. What's up? How you doing?
Look, man, you look good. You look good. You look good in Jersey. You look good over there in Ohio State. I mean, you're a Buckeye. I mean, who's better than you? Who is better than you,
Man, I mean, of course, I'm gonna say nobody, but I ain't playing right now, so I can't say that for right
You
now.
want me to be your? I'm going to be your agent. You want me to be your agent? I can hook you up. You just listen. My personality, going out there, reaching out to executives over there in the NFL. Let's go. Let's reach out to Mr. Goodell. I mean, he likes to wear tennis shoes on draft day. I mean, if he likes to wear tennis shoes, maybe we can tennis him out there. Tie him up and tell him, if you don't sign Gareon Conley, you're never getting out of this basement. What do you think about that? He likes to hang out in basements. I mean, seriously. I mean, who watches football games in there?
I don't know, but my agent, he actually really I love my agent. It's more of a mental. I mean, not mental. It's more of a physical thing why I can't play right now. I actually walked away myself.
Well, don't worry. I all I have to do is have Speedy touch you, and he's like Moses. He has a magical power. I mean, he is like Moses, man. It's a power. I mean, Fish, you got to show him. Show him what he does when it comes to the New York Jets. I mean, it hasn't worked, but hey, it might work now if he touches one of those Jets. Come on, give it to him. Give it to him. There it is. Here it is, right here.
There's your daily dose of Jets memes, Gary.
All right. I'm going to stop playing around. I'm being an idiot right now. This is the first time you're on a show. You're probably thinking, oh, man, I'm on a comedy show. I'm on a radio show. But yeah, it is comedy, but a little bit of comedy. Anyways, there's a lot to get into. The Texans looked pretty good last year. They make the playoffs. C.J. Stroud had one of the greatest rookie seasons a quarterbacks ever had. I would say the greatest rookie season a quarterbacks ever had. And you had Stephon Diggs. I can't stand the guy, but hey, we know he's a good player. They're healthy. What do you believe in his sophomore year, Mr. C.J. Stroud is going to do this year?
I feel like they're going to be a playoff team for sure. I think it's a lot of new pieces on new teams. So I think I would have to go through the season and watch to see how far. I definitely think they're a playoff caliber team. I think, honestly, from my personal standpoint, I think they could make it to a conference championship game.
So I have to ask this as a Giants fan. You played in college with a former guy that was with us, Eli Apple, that definitely liked to cause a lot of controversy on and off the field.
So does his mom.
What was he like as a teammate on and off the field? And what was some of your experiences with him like?
Eli is my best friend, man. That's my dog. We was roommates for the 3 years that I was there with him. Well, I was there for 4, but he left early. But yeah, we were roommates. That was my boy. It seemed like he got out of his shell a little bit more as time went on, because I feel like he was real to himself and like quiet. I mean, he wasn't quiet, but I feel like he was just more to himself when we first like met, first like year or so. But then he opened up. He's really a funny dude. Probably one of the most funny dudes I know. But no, I love Eli, man.
Well, he didn't work at the Big Apple, but he might be
Yeah.
eating a lot of apples. Speedy likes to bob for apples, right, Speedy?
I haven't done that in like 15 years.
Well, that's not true. I mean, you hang out with a lot of different people. You might be bobbing for apples tomorrow.
I highly doubt that.
As everybody knows, we are talking to former Raiders and Texans cornerback Gareon Conley. You know, the cornerback position has become one of the most important positions in football because obviously the wide receivers are making a lot of money. The corners are making a lot of money, but the corners are the ones that have to stop those highly profiled guys, the Justin Jeffersons of the world. I don't know, all of them. You name them, the Tyreek Hills. What is it about the position that makes the position so difficult?
I mean, part of it is what you just said. The guys you're naming, like they're either as fast or faster than you, as strong, stronger than you, as athletic or more athletic than you, and they know where they're going. They know what they're doing the whole play, and we gotta basically react to them and go backwards. Like that's kind of hard when you start off first of all backwards and you're at the opposite side of line of scrimmage from them, and they're going forward full speed, and we don't know where they're going. That's a difficult task. And then mentally, I feel like the aspect mentally is kind of hard because like you have to be the most resilient player on the field, like, and you have to be able to snap and clear like quick. Because of course, as a corner, you don't want to give up any catches. Damn sure don't want to give up any touchdowns, but you don't want to give up anything. So for you to give up a catch, of course you're gonna be pissed, but you can't even really worry about giving up the catch because you got to play the next play. Like they could be coming at you the next play, and then if you let one little thing bother you, it's gonna fuck up your whole game. So I think that's part of the thing too, is mentally and physically is just a hard task.
So obviously, corner and wide receiver both have been very big trash talking positions as well. What were you like as a corner and opposing wide receivers? Who was the biggest trash talker you faced?
The biggest trash talker? Man, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I feel like I never really came across people that talk like crazy. I mean, I feel like everybody just talks like sometimes. I feel like me though, like I never really talk shit. If you talk shit to me, of course I'm talking shit back. But I feel like when I talk shit, I'm wasting energy. Like I'm tired. Like I'm trying to keep my breath. I ain't trying to talk. I'm just trying to play. So I never really talked. I never really came across anybody that I ever had like a beef with or nothing though, which is crazy.
You know, Gareon, there is a guy that likes to speak, and that's Tyreek Hill, Mr. Cheetah Man. He really does like to spit out some craziness. He
Yeah.
came out at practice recently, and Noah Lyle said, "A football champion is not a real champion. He's not a real world champion." And Tyreek came out and said, "Well, you know what? If I raced you, I beat you." So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts to Noah Lyles coming out and saying that if you win an NFL championship, you're not a world champion? And what are your thoughts to Tyreek coming out and saying, hey, you know what? Hey, if you get on a football field and race me, I'm going to kick your, you know what? So those two questions are very interesting questions. I want to hear it from you.
Yeah. I mean, him saying that about the championship is just crazy. Like football is the hardest sport, like demanding physically and mentally. And what I've went through to get to where I got, one, to get to the NFL, like, and I'm not downplaying any other sport as far as like the work ethic and like the work you got to put in to get to the professional level. But what I had to do to get here and then what I had to do to try to get back, because I missed 4 years of not playing because of injuries, because of playing football. So mentally and physically, like that's the hardest shit ever. And for him to downplay that championship is crazy. Like I feel like it's only not a world championship because it's not played everywhere like how it is in America, but it's starting to expand, and I feel like it will be eventually. But then on to Tyreek Grayson, I think he could beat him.
Wow, you think Tyreek could beat Noah Lyles in a
Yeah.
race?
So it's crazy because I was seeing I saw the video I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was reading the comments and I was just like looking at him. I'm like, and I watched him race or whatever, and it's like you gotta think about the circumstances. Like if Tyreek were to be training and just for running, and he's already as fast as he is, he would beat him. I'm not saying he would just beat him like right now, right then and there, but if you give him time or whatever, I think he could beat him. You gotta think about all the training that Tyreek has done and all the hits and everything he's taken over his football career, and to still be as fast as he is. If he were to just not play football and be able to have his healthy body and probably be lighter weight because he's not playing football, so he doesn't need to build as much muscle and all that he needs to be just to run a race, he would be way faster than he is right now.
Very interesting. I'm very surprised you would say that. Listen, NFL players, backup NFL players. I think you're nuts. I think you're nuts. I think Noah Lyles is the world's fastest guy, and
he lost.
He lost because he had COVID. And by the way,
Oh my God! All right, so there's an excuse for Michael Jordan winning when he had the flu. Isn't COVID the flu?
He didn't lose. He won the race that makes him the world's fastest guy. He did. He won the 100 meters. That's the world's fastest position. So I mean, he did. He won the gold medal. So he beat the fastest guy in Thompson. Everybody was expecting him to be the world's fastest guy. I mean, the guy never lost in 4 years, and he loses at he loses at the Olympics. So I mean, it's hard to believe that. What did he say? Tyreek would have.
Oh, yeah. One of our commenters, Keith, is on your side.
I disagree. He would not. Not a chance. This guy's a world-class runner, too. This guy, all he does is run. Get out of here, Keith. You need to stop eating Twinkies. All right? Whatever you're eating, keep eating. Well, actually, keep eating them. You know?
Wait, but so he won. So why is that not an excuse? He had COVID when he won, right?
Well, no. He won a bronze in the 200 meters with COVID. I mean, dude, he had 102 fever when he won he still won a bronze in the 200 meters. I mean, the guy won 2 golds and 1 bronze, I think it was, or something like that. I mean, and he's still the world's fastest man. What did you say? 1 gold, 1 bronze. Okay, so he ran 2 races, the 100 meters and the 200 meters. And he's still the world's fastest man. So I'm just saying. I mean, to say
I just think his circumstances are different because football does what I went through. Football does a lot to your body. So the fact that he's still as fast as he is with all the stuff that he's doing, like I said, the circumstances of him just being able to train for a race, I think he beat him.
Wow, I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised.
So you started your career with the Oakland Raiders at the time, then shifted to Las Vegas, and one of your coaches has been under a lot of controversy, in John Gruden. What was he like as a coach for you, on and off the field, and what type of personality was he?
Love him.
Who, you?
No,
no, he said love him. I said he love him. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't mess with him like that. It was just a thing where it's just like being transparent and being honest, and everybody has different like experiences with people. Like my coach at the UFL, Reggie Barlow, he asked me the same thing. He's like, "How you like John Gruden?" And he was like, "Man, me and John Gruden have like a real good relationship." And he was like, "But everybody doesn't have that same relationship." And he understood like some people didn't like him, and it was just like with me, it was just I didn't like the way he handled certain things, and just not being upfront and being honest. Like I remember one time he was like, "Yeah, I think people were talking on rumors on Twitter and social media that I'm tanking the season for first round picks and this and that." Had a whole team meeting, and then the next day or two, he traded Amari Cooper for a first round pick. And they were just like, bro, like you're literally just coming in here telling us you're not doing this and doing that, and everything that you're doing is adding up to what the rumors are saying. And one experience with me was just I remember Eli Apple got traded to the Saints. Von Bell was already there. It was basically a whole bunch of Buckeyes there.
Mhm.
Eli just got traded, and I never said anything about wanting to be traded, or just gave off anything like that I wanted to be traded to any media. But I guess somehow it got in the media that I wanted to be traded or rumors or whatever. And he came up to me during warm-ups of practice, and he was like, "So Eli Apple is going to the Buckeyes or to the Saints, right? All your Buckeyes are over there. You want to go join them?" And I'm like, looking at him like, what do you mean? Like, why would I want to go join them? So I was just like, "Nah, I don't want to go join them." And he was like, "You sure? Like, you don't want to get traded?" And I'm like, "Nah." But then I seen the rumors after practice that I guess I wanted to get traded. But then he was just like, this is when I was like starting and kind of like flip flopping from starting and not starting. They weren't playing me some of the fourth quarters of the games. And he was like, "You starting this week, right?" And I'm looking at him like, "You're the head coach. Like, you supposed to be telling me if I'm starting." Like, and he was like, "You like me?" And I was just like, "Why are you doing this in a warm up of practice? Like, I'm trying to get focused for practice and trying to get ready for the game this week, and you doing this during practice." I just didn't like that. And it was other instances that I ain't gonna bring up, but it's just shit like that that I didn't mess with. And then even when I got traded, I didn't speak to him or the defensive coordinator. I spoke to my position coach and the trainers, and that was really it. So the way that I mean, this is business though. It ain't personal, but it's just like little things like that. It's just like, just be a man and tell me to my face, you know? But that's just what it is.
You know what we got to do? We got to tie John Gruden up, put him, tie him to a dartboard, and we'll all, take shots and see if we can get a bullseye. Speedy, are you?
Nah, I mean, his decision actually helped me. So
There you go,
me getting
man.
traded, that was good for me.
Plus. I mean, you know what? I think you could beat Noah Lyles too. There you go. All right, there we go. I'm helping you. I think you have a better chance with Noah
Nah,
Lyles.
I don't have no chance. I already know. I don't have no chance. I'm real.
Fuckers to beat Eli Apple in a race will be good.
Yeah. Oh, I know how I smoke Eli. He already knows. He already know that.
We are talking to former Raiders and Texans cornerback Gareon Conley. I still believe he's got an NFL career behind him. I'm looking forward to seeing him get back on the field very, very soon. You played in the UFL. What type of league is the UFL that the fans don't know anything about?
It's crazy. I think I mean, obviously the NFL has more talent, and that's what's driving more fans and like the better players. But I think the way the game is played, I think it's gonna expand to the league, because my experience with I think I was our second game. We played the Arlington team. I was on the DC team. And we were down 10 points with a minute and I think it was like 40 seconds left, and we won the game. You don't ever win a game like that in the NFL. And I'm sitting on the bench like, just got my head down like, damn, we lost. Like, and I hear people screaming, and I'm like, I didn't even realize the rules. Like, still, like, I was just ready for like an NFL game rules type. So they have the 4th and 12 play where, so say you score and you're down points, right? Instead of onside kicking, you got a 4th and 12, and you can go for it. And if you get the 4th and 12, wherever you get it from, you just keep playing, and you get to advance. And that's how we won the game. So we end up getting a 4th and 12, and I think we were down a field goal, or we were down 2 actually. Yeah. So we got the 4th and 12, and then we advanced, and then we kicked the field goal and won. So I think that's gonna expand to the NFL, because that's just like, they want to see touchdowns, they want to see scores. So I think that's gonna definitely that's the only thing like that I've seen from the league that's really like different. They changed some of the rules, I guess, from the XFL and the USFL the year before this year, to make it more like the NFL. So I didn't really experience that.
Now the NFL is taking rules from the XFL. Real smart.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon kind of feed, I mean, Vince McMahon's a genius. Maybe he's not, because he doesn't own the WWE anymore because of his, his background of craziness. Speedy, you like him. You hate him.
Watch wrestling anyway. I
You
definitely
hang out with Vince.
I definitely wouldn't advocate
What do you
what
think
Vince
we do
McMahon
with Vince?
did.
If we went to a strip bar with Vince,
I'm not going to a strip bar with Vince McMahon.
Vince
Vince is a wrestling fan. You can invite him.
99% of the world would too.
Maybe they would, Scoops, but that doesn't mean I would. You and Fish like wrestling. Maybe you could take the invitation with Errol there.
Well, listen, you watch a couple of dancers. You see Speedy dance with one of those dancers, and Vince McMahon wearing a bra. Who's better than that?
He quick with the bitches.
That's a good picture. I like that. As everybody knows, we were talking to former Raiders and Texans cornerback Gareon Conley, played from 2017 to 2020. He's been injured for the last couple of years. Hopefully he gets back into the NFL. Love to see him on the field. The cornerback position, Sauce Gardner has been probably the best all-around cornerback in the NFL for the last 2 years. What have you seen in his play as a corner, as a fellow corner, and what do you think in the future the cornerback position is going to be like in the NFL with all these new rules?
I mean, Sauce is definitely a great player. I feel like me personally, I think Surtain is the best corner right now. I'm personable though, like it's preference. I like the way his technique is, like, and how he's real technical sound. I feel like that shows to me that you're a better corner. But Sauce is definitely a great corner, a great player. He makes a lot of plays, and I think one thing about him is his finish. He has probably the best finish of the corners, like finishing on the ball. That's probably what makes him the best, or like looked at as the best. But the future for the corner position, I mean, I feel like again the league wants to see touchdowns. They want to see offense. That's what gets money. That's what gets TV broadcasts. That's what gets fans. You know, that's fantasy points is all about offense. You know what I'm saying? So the corner position is gonna be hard. Like it's always gonna be hard.
The numbers were down last year from what it was the year before. Everybody thought the numbers were going to be up. It was down because I thought the corners played even better than they have in the last couple of years. I think the corner position has really transitioned, not with the speed, just the routes and understanding how to run those routes and defend those routes. That's from some of these wide receivers have been so dominant over the last couple of years. So that's why I think it could really change. I think eventually it's going to transition back into those the corner, the defensive side of the ball, which we all know what happened last year. Why did Kansas City win the world championship? It wasn't, everybody wants to give it to Patrick Mahomes. It was their defense.
Man, them DBs. DBs are strapping. Well, the whole defense is doing good, but them DBs was strapping for sure.
Everybody lets Patrick Mahomes on the back. He did make some throws and he made some running plays, but the guys that really showed up in the game was that defense. They were like shut down. I couldn't believe it how good Kansas City defense was last year. I would have never thought that. I mean, they were impressive, very impressive.
It's just hard to play corner because, like I said, everything I already said about the disadvantages we have, but then just the rules, like can't touch them after 5 yards and stuff like that. And then if it's a 50-50 ball, like going up in the air, like it's most of the time going to be DPI. Like offenses know they have a play where they call it 50-50 ball. Like if they know the route is just a go ball or post, I'm just going to throw it up there because I know I have a high chance of just getting a DPI, which is sometimes on the corner, but you know, a lot of times like it's just bad calls. And I feel like OPI is not enforced as much as DPI is. And receivers don't, or refs don't see what receivers do to DBs. Like they only see what we do to them as a reactive thing, which is the same thing as like penalties. Like when somebody punches somebody, the ref usually only catches the second guy. Well, that's kind of like why DPIs or holdings or anything happen. Because it's like if I'm running and a guy is trying to push off me, if I'm running, it doesn't matter if you push me with a finger, I'm gonna fall off a step. So if you push me, I gotta grab you to get back on transition or stay in position, you know. So I think that's the only reason why I say it's just gonna keep getting harder. But I mean, a lot of receivers are transitioning to DBs, so that's what helps a lot with DBs because I know, shit, I was a receiver and I played DB afterwards, so that's what helps a lot if you go from receiver to playing DB because you know how to run routes and stuff like that.
So you actually spent some camp time with the Dallas Cowboys this year, and they've had a very drama-filled offseason. They're still getting it with the comments about CeeDee
Who
Lamb.
doesn't love the Dallas Cowboys?
Dak Prescott, all these guys are getting a lot of criticism.
Zeke's back.
What was the camp experience like with them when you were there and getting them involved with some of those players?
Man, I mean, I was only there for 3 days, what, 4 days, 3 or 4 days. So I ain't really get to experience a lot. I do like the defense though. It's crazy because it was the defense I was playing at Oakland, but you needed a pass rush, and we didn't have a pass rush at Oakland to run the defense that we were running. But the defense was making a lot of plays when I was there for sure, and I like their defense for sure. And Al Harris, like one of the I was literally with him for 3 days, but like one of the coolest dudes I've ever met and a really good coach. Like when I tell you 3 days of just being with him, like I felt like I got better in those 3 days. It was just a physical thing for me. Like I said, injuries that I've been dealing with for since I've been in the league. That's what really made me walk away.
You know, you didn't get Jerry Jones patting you on the ass. I mean, has been his known thing that he likes to do. I mean, Speedy,
I didn't even see him.
oh man, I mean, could you imagine Jerry pat you on the ass? I mean, that
Nah, nobody pat me on the ass.
Oh, don't worry, Larry Jones.
Not I.
Yeah, he's too busy doing that to Deion Sanders to try to get him as the next head coach.
Yeah, do that to them, not me.
Where's Billy Bell? Where's Billy Bell when you need him? Oh, I'm losing my mind. Yeah, it's been a long one. Oh, as everybody, we are talking to former Raiders and Texans cornerback Gareon Conley. You know, Gareon, we have Speedy's got his own fan only. I mean, I think you really need to check out his fan only. I'm seriously, man, this guy is one of the best in the business. And by the way, he's making tons and tons of money. He just doesn't even know it. I think, Fish, you need to show Gareon. He needs to follow the old great Speedy. There it is. There it is. Fans only, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to need the Men in Black memory eraser.
Men in Black memory eraser.
Don't fall for scams, Gareon.
I mean, listen, it's. I mean, if you need to follow somebody, this is the guy, man. Look at those pictures. I mean, who's better than him? I mean, look at it, Gareon. I mean, I don't know if you want to look at him in the corner over there. I mean, that's an ugly picture of him. Jesus, man.
Yeah, take it away before Gareon has any more nightmares.
I'm having a nightmare just talking about it.
Well, then don't talk about it. There's an easy answer for that.
This dude's funny.
Oh, man. Look at you, Speedy. You do look like Moses, man. That's great. Well, Speedy's afraid of snakes.
That's wild.
Speedy, what kind of snakes are you afraid of? All of them. Every snake?
Yes.
How about the one,
Now, all of them. They count.
everywhere?
Everywhere.
It doesn't matter where it is.
Correct.
In the pants, anything?
There was a snake in my. Yeah, that would probably be the freakiest moment of my life.
Gareon, I listen. You've never been on a show like this one. That's
No, I like it. It's chill. That's what I like. It's free.
I'm losing my mind. You know,
That's how it should be.
You know what it is? The heat. It's the heat. I'm just losing. I'm flustering. Speedy, it's just terrible. A soundproof studio and hanging out with the Speedy Petey, the speedster, right?
Sure.
Are you okay? Is that everything?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Every single word that comes out of your mouth, I don't know. Who
What
cares?
part of New York y'all from?
Long
Or
Island.
what part of New York y'all live in?
Long Island.
Long Island.
Yeah, Long Island. You
I
gotta
only
come.
been to New York one time.
What happened?
I went out there to meet with my financial advisor. He's from New York.
Oh, what part of New York? What part of Long Island?
I went to Manhattan, but I think he lives in Jersey.
We call it Mad Hatton. You know, everybody's mad. Right, Speedy?
I don't know.
You know, I live in. You know, I'm from a place called Patchogue. It's where Marcus Stroman is from, and we call it Snatchog. Speedy, you know all about that, right? Snatchog.
I never heard that. I didn't know it in the 90s when you grew up there.
No, but you know about Snatchog.
No, I don't.
You've never heard of Snatchog?
No.
Well, now you did. So now, do you know what that means?
No.
Well, good. That's good. That's good. I don't want to scare you off. You might be scared. Every time you get into Patchogue, you be snatching away.
No, I won't.
Oh, so you won't. So you will snatch.
You
Oh,
see where that
somebody's
was
gonna-
going?
He's lost. He's lost in translation. It's a great movie, by the way. Bill Murray. I like that movie. You like that movie, Speedy?
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, I'm lost. You know, he's in a dream. I'm in a dream every time I look at you.
Okay.
You do look like Moses, by the way.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Anyways, before we let you go, man, I got one more question for you because it's a very important one. You look at the league and the new rules. Do you like them? Do you like the kickoff rule? Do you like the onside kick rule? What do you think Roger Goodell is doing with this league? And do we need to, tie him up and throw him overboard in the middle of the ocean? What do you think about that?
I don't like the kickoff rule. I think the onside rule. I mean, I don't know. I think me personally. I mean, if you want to like take it to a thing where you're trying to give a fan experience and get more fans, and if you're trying to get more money as like the commissioner or whatever, I think you should take that 4th and 12 and put it in the NFL. Like that, like I said, that game, I literally thought we were gonna lose because we're down 10, 1 minute 40 seconds left. Like that was like the craziest experience that I was so like hyped in the game and like interested in like how it went because I wasn't expecting that. Like I feel like he should add that more than anything. But the kickoff rule, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me at all.
So we're going to tie it, but so let's just tie him up and throw him in the ocean. I mean, seriously. No more Roger Goodell, no more problems. I mean, $58 million. I mean, guy's making $58 million. His kids have benefits for the rest of their lives. He's got his own jet. Who's better than this guy? And he doesn't even want to give players that, a lifetime of insurance. What kind of man is that guy?
Man, I gotta file fucking benefits right now.
Listen,
crazy.
Let's just hold him down and beat the hell out of him.
Maybe we'll have your former teammate Max Crosby. Maybe he could tackle him.
Y'all like the kickoff rule?
I don't like anything.
I'm not sure.
I don't
really.
like anything new, and I don't like Roger Goodell. So there's 3 things I don't like: 1 and 2 and 3, all of them of the above. I do like you, so that's a plus. So
Appreciate
1 out
that.
of 4. 1 out of 4. So I'm 1 and 4 right there, Speedy. That's
Well,
a
I
loser.
ain't with them, so I ain't
Oh, thank God you're not with them. I mean,
separate.
listen, if the Jets go 1 and 4 in the first 5 games, I'm going to throw up. Okay, so that's all I'm going to
Jets
say.
fan?
Oh, come on, man. Are you kidding me? I'm a losing fan. I like a bunch of losers. Okay. By the way, we got a nice picture to show you. I think you'll enjoy this one.
Oh boy,
that's a nice one. There it is.
Whoa, that's great.
What's that going in my mouth? What the hell
That's
are you
wild.
doing? That's disgusting. Bitch, that's mean. It should be going in his mouth. Ooh, Fire Island. Let's head it. Let's transfer. I don't think Gareon's going to want to go to Fire Island now.
Don't worry, there's plenty of other beaches.
Don't go to Cherry Grove.
What's that?
Oh, that's Fire Island. You don't want to go there. I mean, if you're a straight man, you don't want to go there. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Speedy, you want to go to Fire Island? You want to go to Cherry Grove?
That's what you're describing. I will pass.
Oh, Gareon, I hope you had a good time. We have always a good time, and we really appreciate the time as always. I heard your kids in the background. How many kids you have?
I got 2, and then I got a stepson, so 3.
How
I
old
got
are
a 7-year-old. My stepson is 17, and then I got a 2-year-old.
Are you married?
Have they ever met Eli Apple?
I'm engaged. Nah, they never met
I
Eli.
mean, we've been interviewing a lot of engaged. You know, I'm a DJ. Man. You know, and I'm MC. I travel around the world DJing. You
Yeah.
know, if you ever need a DJ, man. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I can. But listen, and I
I'm
spend
gonna
good.
hit you up.
I think you should. I mean, I spend good hip hop. You like 90s hip hop. You like 2000. I go back. Man.
Yeah, I like old music. I don't like this new music.
Then we need to talk, man. I mean, I've been on tour with Cash Money. I mean, I've done my tours, man. But
Yeah.
I listen. If you want a DJ that knows what he's doing, listen. I'll come over there just to have a little fun, and I'll do your after party if you want. But
Yeah.
anytime, man. We'll talk. Speedy's got your
Bet.
number, right?
No, I messaged him through email.
All right, so you give Speedy your number, man. I mean, seriously. Listen, I'm all about just partying and having a good time. I don't drink, by the way, but you would probably think that I was when I'm out there because I just like to have fun and make people laugh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I know how to get down and dirty. I mean, I'm a dancer, break dance and everything, man. Believe it or not, I'm 217, 18 pounds. I could break dance. I could do everything, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do it, man. I can move. For a white guy, I can move. I mean, I'm a white boy that can move. Speedy, you're not a white boy that can move.
Not for that. No.
Well, what for? What do? You like to move? You like to move your hips?
It's fine.
What kind of hips do you like to move?
What types of hips are there besides the ones that are on your body? That's a third hip.
I'm trying to get him to understand what I'm talking about. But that's good. It's good that he's a little out there. Oh, in the hemisphere. A little far. Ozone layer.
Again, you would not be able to move your hips very well in the ozone layer.
Anyways, Gareon, we really appreciate the time. Speedy, Gareon, reach out to Speedy. I'm serious. If you're getting married, man, let me know, man. I can throw a big party, man. Anytime, man.
Sure.
I'm serious. Speedy will get your your AKA number and we'll be in touch, man. I'm really serious, by the way. I know you probably think I'm crazy and out of my mind, but I'm actually a pretty cool collective guy. But I like to make people laugh, and sports radio is supposed to be entertainment. It's not just supposed to be boring. Hey, Gareon, what kind of things do you do on the sidelines? Hot dogs and hamburgers. Who cares? I'm serious.
Yeah.
The only person we care about eating hot dogs on the sidelines is Mark Sanchez.
I do not care how many hot dogs he eats on the sidelines, but in his private life, he probably eats a lot of hot dogs too.
Rex Ryan will take over for him and have a competition. They could be the new Joey Chestnut and the Japanese guy.
Oh, what kind of sauces did you like, Speedy?
Whoa.
Spicy ones.
I'm sure you like some spicy and long and thick, right?
Depends on how hungry I am.
Do you bend the meat?
There you go. Do you bend the meat? Are you a meat bender?
No.
Are you a meat bender?
There you go. There you go. Those are the boards. The soundboard is here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gareon Conley. We really appreciate the time. Gareon, Speedy will reach out to you. We really should be in touch, man. I think it'd be great. And I hope you do get a chance to be on the NFL field. And I would love to get you back on the show again as well.
Yeah, just let me know, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely. Look, great personality. Come on, Speedy.
Oh, yeah.
Great personality. Speedy, great get. Gareon Conley. And by the way, I think he could beat Noah Lyles. I think he could.
Gary
I already said that.
versus Tyreek Hill versus Noah Lyles versus Eli Apple.
I think you need to
I ain't even beat Tyreek. Almost hurt my hamstring.
I hurt my hamstring every time I watch you guys run. I mean, seriously. I heard other things too, but I don't want to tell you anything, Speedy. I think you would probably want to know off air, right, Speedy? You could be my doctor.
I'm not a trained doctor. I would trust somebody who's actually a doctor to just deal with that.
You sure?
A lot of doctors ain't what they think.
Good. Look at that. Speedy.
That's why I am where I am, because of doctors.
Dr. Speedster. Look at him. I mean, would you trust a guy that looks like Jesus Christ?
I'm not going to judge a doctor based on how they look.
I'm asking you.
I'm not going to judge a doctor based on how they look.
You could be his private doctor.
I'm going to trust the medical profession.
Thank you. Ding, ding, ding.
Gareon, we really appreciate the time. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Gareon. Fantastic. Love him. I'm a big fan of Gareon now.
Mm-hmm.
I am. I'm being serious. I'm very listen. I'm sure he's been on a bunch of shows. It's boring, stupid, dumb. You have all this stain. Gareon, At least he knows that we are real guys.
Oh, yeah. He'll get nightmares on our graphics.
Nightmares? I mean, I don't have any nightmares.
No, you're used to them.
Thank Gareon. I think I enjoyed that interview. I think everybody enjoyed that interview.
Yeah, Keith in the comment section says it's his favorite guest.
Yeah, well, what else is new with Keith? I mean, there's a lot of favorite things he likes. I mean, he's a big Jeff fan. I mean, not Jets fan, a Jeff fan, A Jet fan. He's a Jet fan. And at least that's what he says he is. I think I'm a little lost with that. by the way. Why don't we go to a quick break? When we come back, a lot to get into. We have a couple more stories that we need to get into, and Speedy is going to do the twist. What do you guys think about that? I think I want to see that when we come back here on the Sports Loudmouth. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
That is right. I'm Tommy Scoops, and no further introduction for everybody knows what it is time for the Loudmouth Sports Minute. And over in the NFL, Russell Wilson is actually set to make his Steelers preseason debut. The veteran QB will play in the exhibition game Saturday night versus the Bills, being the first game in Steelers threats since joining this offseason. Other NFL news, the Rams announced Jimmy Garoppolo will not play in the second preseason game. Garoppolo, who was suspended for the first 2 games for violating drug policy, head coach Sean McVay said is important for backup Stetson Bennett to get those reps at QB1 for the team's preseason game. And lastly, over in college football, the college football playoffs won't use conference titles as a tiebreaker anymore. With the brand new 12-team playoff format to debut this season, the CFP announced conference titles will no longer be a tiebreaker for the playoff seeding. Going now to Scoops of Scores over in the MLB, the Orioles still have a 5-1 lead over the Red Sox heading into the bottom of the 8th. Phillies still up big, 10-3 over the Nationals at the bottom of the 7th, while at the top of the 3rd, the Twins and Rangers are currently tied at 2 apiece. That is all the time I have for you guys right now. Kicking it back to the boys for the continuation of the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Or we're taking a thing and losing DNA test. Enjoy. Kirby, I hate you. 99% of the world would too.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Daryl Marks. My co-host, the Speedster, Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out Bovado, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the link on our website. It's a QR code. 100% on the first deposit. So if you invest $100, you get 2, 4, 4, 8, 8, 16. You can add, you can win. Ladies and gentlemen, bet on almost anything like the presidential election. Speedy, who you going with? You're not betting on what?
I'm not betting on that.
You got to bet on something.
I'm not betting on the freaking presidential election.
Well, I'm going to bet on it.
Okay, good for you.
Good for you, good for me.
You.
Good for both of us. Woo!
It's good for both of us.
It is good for both of us. It's good for all of us.
Speaking of betting, by the way, Wes could not make it for Let's Parlay, unfortunately, but he did send some picks over. There's a game in progress right now.
I didn't finish this, buddy. You're cutting me off.
All right.
I'm upset.
Finish.
I'm upset. What do I have to do here?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
We good? We're ready to go?
Oh.
Oh, you can withdraw from Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. No limitations on what state you are in, except here in the tri-state, because it doesn't work here. You can bet anywhere. Oh, man, I'm losing my mind tonight. All you have to do is click our link on our website, which basically we're based in New York, so it doesn't work here. So, Speedy, you okay?
I don't know.
Good for me or good for you?
Good for both of us.
It's good for both of us.
All right, Speedy, go ahead. Speedy.
All right, so now that Errol's done with his tangent, Wes did send over some live plays. He said he wasn't feeling well, but he did text some plays over. Game in progress right now, so I guess this will be a live play. Calgary -3.5. They are home against the Ottawa Red Blacks tonight. Tomorrow he's got Saskatchewan at home +1 against Montreal. Saturday he's got the Sunday he's got Winnipeg on the money line on the road against BC, and then he's got Edmonton, the Elks, on the road covering -2 against Hamilton.
You like Elks?
I don't know. I've never encountered one.
Have you ever eaten
I actually
one?
have before. It's actually pretty good, elk meat.
What does it taste like?
It's probably a little more flavorful than chicken, I think. It's probably a little more tender, like not like a white meat chicken. It's probably in between white and dark meat chicken, but it's very good. It's a unique flavor. Bison meat is also very good too.
Which one do you like more, elk or bison?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm
That
gonna
is
probably say elk. I would probably say elk.
So you just like the meat, you know?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
It was actually pretty good.
It's
It's
pretty
hard,
good.
obviously hard to get because it doesn't like import here very well.
Would you ever ride a bison?
No,
Why?
because they're aggressive creatures,
Well, I'm an aggressive creature.
and I wouldn't ride on your back either.
Why? What's wrong with me?
Nothing. I just don't want to. I don't need to be on somebody's back.
You could jump on mine.
I don't care. I'm not a 10-year-old kid that needs a freaking piggyback.
Oh, well, thank you to our guests, Matt O'Leary and Gareon Conley. I'm sure they loved every bit of it. You did too, Beatty.
Most of it.
Well, you don't love our interviews?
I know. I love the interviews. I didn't like the parts involving snakes.
What's wrong with a snake?
A lot of things.
I got a snake for you.
No, you don't.
I do. I have a
No,
snake.
you don't.
It's a friendly snake.
No, you don't.
He's friendly.
I don't care. I don't.
There it is. WFAN's Brandon Tierney said that Aaron Judge is the greatest New York athlete of his lifetime, and it isn't even close. He added that he is one of few New York athletes that has gotten better as they have gotten older. He said that Lawrence Taylor, as far as pure dominance, is the only New York athlete he would consider to discuss against Aaron Judge. WFAN's Sean Morash, oh, we love him, by the way. I attacked him on all over when I called his show. Responded that Tierney says Judge can't be considered as the best Yankee ever until he wins a ring. That's what Sean Morash said, responding to Tierney. Morash also mentioned that Judge's playoff numbers as being very average as a superstar player. Why are we talking about Sean Morash? The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Tierney mentioned Babe Ruth is the GOAT in New York sports, but said that Judge is the greatest he's seen in 50 years. First of all, man, I'm going to attack this. I'm going to eat this up alive. Ready for this, Speedy? I'm going to smack it around. I'm going to give it to him. You ready? You ready? Come on, give me that. Yes, let's get it. All right, give it to me. Let's get it. All right, there you go. First of all, the greatest New York baseball player in the last 30 years is Mariano Rivera, okay? I am tired. And I'm not saying this to take shots at Aaron Judge, and I love Aaron Judge. I think Aaron Judge has been superb, but I would not agree with Sean Morash. You don't need to win championships. How many championships did Barry Bonds win? How many did he win, guys? Speedy, do you know? Zero. And who do you think, in my eyes, and I've said this many, many times, is the greatest baseball player ever?
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds. Okay? Say whatever you want about steroids. Before steroids, he had 400 and 400. So stop it, guys. All right? That's all I'm going to say. Mariano Rivera had a career 2.21 ERA. He had 652 saves. And by the way, his playoff numbers are absolutely ridiculous. And actually, he actually shows up in the playoffs. The greatest New York baseball player of this era is Mariano Rivera. So take Aaron Judge out of the picture here. Now getting into Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth played in a time where the game was very unique and very different. And also, Babe Ruth played with bigger ballparks, heavier bats, and lesser of the talent when it comes to pitching. So I'm not saying Babe Ruth isn't one of the greatest, or if not the greatest baseball. I think he is the greatest baseball player, but the greatest New York athlete. And you guys can think whatever you want. You ready for this, Speedy? I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it with some enthusiasm and love and compassion. You ready for this? You ready? It's Carmelo Anthony. I'm just kidding. Carmelo. I don't want you guys to lose your mind over there. Carmelo Anthony, what are you talking about? No, I'm just kidding.
Come on, guys. It's clearly Eli Apple.
It's not Eli Apple. It's not Eli Manning. It's not, it could be somebody else, It could be, many different ways to express yourself.
Obviously, it's Zach Wilson. Come on, guys.
The greatest New York athlete of the last 50 years is Lawrence Taylor, okay? There is no comparison to him. There's nobody you can compare to what Lawrence Taylor did on a football field. I am not even a Giant fan, and I'm going to speak the truth. Lawrence Taylor was a dominant force. There was nobody even close to even touching him. Yes, he likes to sniff coke. Yes, he likes to smoke crack. So does half the world does. I mean, everybody does. I mean, the fact that he sniffs an 8-ball every single half, I mean, that was pretty amazing to get back out there and try to kill and rip people's heads off. So that's something that sells me. And you know what he does off the field, I wouldn't agree with what he does. But, hey, when he is on the field, when he was on the field, Lawrence Taylor is the greatest athlete. It's not even a question. Now, when you look at the possibilities to compare some of these great guys, and by the way, Jalen Brunson, if he wins a championship with the New York Knicks, could break every single one of those guys. Because if he brings a championship home to the New York Knicks in almost 40 years, 50 years going on to, I mean, it's pretty amazing what when you're trying to compare these guys. But the best player that I've ever seen in my lifetime is not even a question. It's Lawrence Taylor, because of what he's done on the football field, how he did it, what he did for the New York Giants and the organization, bringing home championships, 2 championships. And really, the defense brought those championships home because the Giants did it with 2 different quarterbacks, Phil Simms and Jeff Hostetler. Okay. Hostetler was a backup quarterback. Okay. Did Hostetler do that again on any other team, any organization after they did it with the Giants? The answer is no. The reason why he did it was because of that dominant defense with those guys, Ernie Banks, all of them. It was a dominant force because of one man, one dominant player. And Bill Belichick came out and said it. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to do it with enthusiasm. Bill Belichick coached Tom Brady. He coached Vince Wilfork. He's coached a lot of great defensive and offensive players who everybody calls Tom Brady the GOAT. And Bill Belichick came out and said the greatest player he's ever coached, who, Speedy? Who was it?
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor. So if Bill Belichick, the GOAT of all GOATs when it comes to coaches, comes out and says that the greatest player he's ever coached was Lawrence Taylor, who am I to fight him? The greatest player in New York sports history in the last 50 years, you can book it. It is Lawrence Taylor.
Very well done. That was definitely worth the hype of that.
It's
rant.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't Carmelo Anthony. I wasn't.
Yeah, definitely wasn't Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony was probably the biggest flawed New York player of all time.
Well,
him and Amari Stoudemire.
There's a longer list of that, but yeah, it's interesting because Aaron Judge right now.
You bob for apples with him, right? You would.
With the apples.
Well, Carmelo Anthony. You bob for apples with Carmelo?
I don't think I have room.
What do you mean?
Unless you bob, what are you going to bob in a pool?
If they sink, right?
They might. I don't know.
I mean, you're a good swimmer, right?
Yeah, but what is it? That doesn't mean I could catch an apple in my mouth.
I'm sure
underwater.
You could. I'm sure you could. It's pretty big.
Maybe, but it'd be pretty hard.
How big do the apples have to be?
It doesn't matter. Like
small, big.
They probably have to be pretty small because
Oh.
it's gonna be hard for it to fit in anyone's mouth anyway. Nevertheless, underwater while you're trying to not necessarily dive, but downward swim.
All right. Oh, we'll get to your point here.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I think Aaron Judge at this point, he's on pace definitely that where he could get there, but there's still a lot of questions with the injury risk that he's had. They has obviously the toe injury that was still lingering from last year. The pace he's on right now, he definitely could get to 600 home runs, and if he still keeps it up with the batting average wise too, there's definitely a possibility he gets there. But to say he's there yet is, I think, a little far fetched. I'm not saying it's crazy down the road. We'll see in 5 years. We'll see in 6 years. Maybe he does. But yeah, right now, it's tough to compare him to Babe Ruth right now because Babe Ruth changed the game when it came to power. Babe Ruth, like you were saying, did it in the polo grounds. It was almost 500 feet down the line and over 500 feet in center field. And yeah, I understand the pitching diversity wasn't there yet. You didn't have as many guys that throw these velocity and these variety of pitches that they do now. So that may be the one knock on Babe Ruth, but everything else, he changed the game.
We're not bringing up Babe Ruth in the last 50 years. Now, if you want to compare Babe Ruth to Lawrence Taylor, I would say Babe Ruth is the best of all time. I mean, he is the greatest New York athlete,
right?
Even though he came from Boston, just speaking the truth,
right? But he played most of his career in New York, so that counts.
But besides Babe Ruth, the greatest athlete in the last 50 years, it's not even an argument. Nobody better argue it. For all the greatnesses that we've seen, all the great baseball players, basketball players, hockey players, football players, the greatest of all of those guys is Lawrence Taylor. Right. That's it.
Yeah, when you look at the dominance of what he was at his position, yes, I would agree with that. You could even argue even above Aaron Judge right now too. Darrelle Revis probably as well, being one of the best corners of all time as well, probably the second best corner of all time. If you could argue that. And again, there's the Knicks again. It's tough because there's a lot of those ones in the 70s too. But I think Aaron Judge right now is on pace for a lot of those being ahead.
He's got a lot to do. I mean, he's got, first of all, Derek Jeter won 5 championships, and I'm not a Derek. Everybody knows I'm not a Derek Jeter fan. I mean, Bernie Williams won, 4 championships?
Right. I agree with you. Rivera is the best one on that core.
Rivera, I mean, dominance. The only person I would argue that was anywhere close to Lawrence Taylor is Mariano Rivera.
Right.
And that's why he got 100% of the Hall of Fame votes.
Of course.
You like that?
Right. And that's definitely,
my yodel.
That's definitely the best one on that core. For sure. And so if you're judging the Yankees, that dynasty that they had, I agree with you in terms of the dominant trait. Because obviously you're going to say, oh, he's a closer. He's not going to have the same level as Derek Jeter. No, he was more dominant as a closer than Derek Jeter was as a shortstop. So 100%. I'm going to take that into account. Now, again, Aaron Judge is a corner outfielder. He can play some center field too. I'm not going to really judge the position type thing because I think today's baseball is more of a versatile type game. And his raw power is the best in the league and the best of this era that we have seen for this era of baseball. But still, he has to stay healthy to get to those levels. He has to get to 600 home runs to even start being in that conversation. He'll be a Hall of Famer, obviously, but he has to, in terms of the greatest New York athlete, he has to at least get to 600 home runs.
We'll bring Scoops in too. Let's do it. Let's ride the lightning. I love that song, by the way. Metallica, baby. You like Ride the Lightning, Speedy?
Yes, I do. Fish, you're on mute.
Speedy, do you like
great
to ride?
Metallica song?
Do you like to ride things?
Depends on what it is.
You like horses?
I haven't rode a horse in 12 years.
Well, you could. I could hook you.
I could. It doesn't mean I care.
How about a dog?
It's a joke, but not
so. What else as a joke have you done with your dog?
It's easy to prank him. That's not hard.
Have you ever put peanut butter on his balls?
No. I didn't say I was a pervert. All right, before we get another tangent, Fish goes, your comment here, LT was dominant, Deion Sanders. Yeah, we're talking about New York athletes, Jamie Lee. Deion Sanders was a great athlete. He never played.
Leave him alone.
He would play about New York athletes. Get Fish.
Yeah, so I guess the question was generation. I think LT would be the previous generation. He's 60 now, right? But hard to argue anyone's ever been better than LT. So I have no arguments if we're including that age player. Mariano is a fascinating argument, for especially the Yankees. He was a unique player. He did things that no one else did at that position. He was an original. He had the pitch that no one else threw, that I would still argue no one throws that pitch. He did it with one pitch. He had a four-seamer, more of a straight fastball than a cutter that he would mix in there to try to throw him off. But that one pitch was just so devastating, and it was incredible that he was able to do most of his career. He added a slider a little bit near the end and just some other stuff because he didn't have the velocity. But there's no one that did things that he did. Now, Judge hit 62 home runs. No one's done that without steroids ever, arguably. So if he could do it twice, he's in the same category as Sammy Sosa, is the only person to ever do it.
Don't tell that to Spader. He says there's juice balls. So don't bring up the 62 home runs. You didn't cheat. I'm just kidding. I don't think they're juicing any balls. But Speedy likes to juice balls.
They also were juicing the opponent's balls too. So the Yankees pitchers still have to deal with that struggle to pitch too.
How about you hang out with Brian Cashman? Would you do that?
I'm not doing that.
What? Juicing Brian?
I'm not letting Brian Cashman juice my balls. Do you want him to be forced out of Yankees GM position for that? I don't know.
I think that would be pretty cool.
All right, fine. Enjoy finding your replacement GM. You're gonna have Billy Epler back if you want.
Well, we could do anything. We could do it for both of us.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Look, what Judge is doing this year is undeniable. He's having a better year than the 62 home run year by every statistic. He might not have the 62 home runs because he had a slow start to the season, but everything else he's doing, his defense is above average at worst. He plays center field if you need him to, and he's 6'7". I mean, it just doesn't even make sense. It's like a guy that you would invent in a video game to be able to beat the game. like one of those like 99 characteristics in power. He just can do it all, and he hits over. He's hitting like 320. The league batting average is like 230, 240.
Yeah, he's second in the whole league.
A
Only to win.
monster.
Yeah.
They thought he was, and they thought when he came up, he wasn't even. I mean, he was barely a top 100 prospect when they brought him up in the league. They thought he was going to have too big of a strike zone. He would strike out 30% of the time. Look at him now. Look at all the doubters. Look at this. Just imagine a guy of his size that didn't have a problem striking out too much. He still strikes out more than most
He's a Hall of
players.
Famer. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
But
His
this is
dominance in
crazy.
The last 6 or 7 years. I mean, if he does it for another 3 years, he's a Hall of Famer. And he's a right
Look,
now.
he needs the title though.
No, I don't even think he needs a title.
I don't think to be a Hall of Famer now.
No, I think he's
But maybe not to be a Hall of Famer, but for this argument with is he the best New York player, the best athlete
needs more
in New
than
York
one
of all
title.
time? He's going to have the title.
He needs to have 2 titles. I mean, because right now, Mariano Rivera, I'm still saying right now, of the last 15 years, it's Mariano. And in the last 30 to 40, about 50 years, I'm going to say it. And it's not Broadway Joe, so stop it. It's not him. He's so overrated. Stop it. I love you, Joe.
No, Darrell Rivas is the Jets representative.
Oh, we can argue that. Curtis Martin, we forgot about him.
That's fair.
Cujo.
You got Mangold and Mawai, also some great centers. So you got to give the linemen some respect.
D Brick. How about D Brick? Deep bricking it,
Yeah,
right?
the Brickishaw.
You like to deep brick it?
It's not a verb.
Do you like to deep brick it?
That's not a verb.
But you like to deep brick?
I don't know. I don't know what the hell it means.
You like to brick it?
I don't know.
Oh.
Thank God Keith is calling. Thank God, Keith, you called it a good time.
Oh, okay. Why, is it a creepy hour again?
Yeah, we're starting to get there.
The creepy hour.
Okay. Hey, I didn't catch all of it. I was watching my brother playing sings, whatever. I'm with his girlfriend. So I just put it on a little while ago. Were you guys talking about the greatest athlete of all time?
We were talking about, there was a WFAN radio guy that said Aaron Judge in the last 50 years is already the greatest New York athlete of that era.
Oh, New York.
50 years. Yeah, New York.
He's not.
New
by the
York?
way. He's not.
All of New York for the last 50 years. He said Babe Ruth was number 1, but for the last 50 years, his lifetime, it's already Aaron Judge.
It's so full of it.
Well, Aaron Judge is definitely a better athlete than Babe Ruth.
We're not talking about that.
No, I know. I'm just saying he said that Babe Ruth was number 1. But you know about the last 50 years.
I already told you if you were
Athlete,
listening.
well, Judge could have played pro football, so I'd say probably, not definitely. He was a great basketball player. I'm trying to think who's better.
I just told you.
Who do you think's better?
Right now in the last 15 years, I don't know if you were listening, Mariano Rivera.
No, I wasn't listening. Mariano's not a better athlete. He was a
better
baseball player.
better New York player at their sports. When you look at sports,
I thought you
New
said
York
athlete.
sports. And by the way, Mariano Rivera was a very good athlete. He could play the outfield. He could have made the team as an outfielder, a lot of people said. He can hit the ball. He was actually a pretty good hitter.
He could hit the ball.
And I'm talking about New York athletes. We're talking about their dominance on the field.
Are you talking about athlete or baseball player?
Just overall
athlete.
player.
Yeah, player.
It's a big
athlete.
difference.
No, Keith.
We're not talking raw athleticism.
We're talking about New York athletes, okay? At their sports.
Wait, hold on.
At their
Let me-
sports.
At their sport? Oh, okay. I thought you meant all-around athlete, not just baseball.
No.
So you're talking about just a baseball player.
What they
We're
accomplished
talking
as an athlete.
an athlete. What they have accomplished.
As an athlete?
Yes.
That's I don't know.
Are
It's a
you
tough
kidding
one.
me? Are you kidding me? 5
No,
championships.
as an athlete.
As an athlete,
well,
yes.
right now,
New York.
you can't. No. Listen. You can't put Judge right now. No, not as a New York.
But that's
athlete.
what we're saying. They're saying.
I mean, as a New York baseball player, if you're an athlete, yeah, he's definitely a better athlete than Mariano. And but
hold
as far
on.
as
What'd you
all-around
say?
athlete, but
Hold on a
just at
second.
Baseball.
Judge is a better baseball player than Mariano Rivera. How do you?
No,
figure?
I said if it was all-around athlete.
We're not
better
talking about
athlete.
all-around athlete.
No,
We're
I got you now. I got you. That's why I thought that. That's all.
And I
was
think
explaining.
I think the greatest player in New York sports history in the last 50 years is Lawrence Taylor. That was my argument.
I agree.
Wow. Pretty
Yes.
easy on that one.
No, absolutely. He's gotten, I can't think of, I'm trying to think.
Carmelo Anthony?
Oh, please. I take John Starks over Carmelo.
Oh, man. The bricklayer himself.
I take Trent Tucker over Carmelo.
Who?
Trent Tucker.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
I'm joking, obviously.
I know you're joking. I've been joking the whole night.
Oh, I haven't listened. I did hear a lot of laughter during Creepy Hour.
You haven't been listening, but you've been listening to a Creepy Hour. That's
No, I just put it on a few minutes ago.
Oh,
What
so,
did I tell you
so you haven't been listening to the show, the whole show?
No, he was listening to Gary. He said it was his favorite guest.
I was out watching my brother with my family and stuff.
Interesting. So you missed a good one. You missed a good show.
Well, I can look at it again, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can.
You can.
He did say Gareon Conley was his favorite guest, though.
Oh, he was great. He was great. And I agree with him, everything.
And you call it the Creepy Hour. By the way, you're watching the Creepy Hour, smartass. You love it. So stop with the Creepy Hour.
Well, let's not go there.
Oh,
but
no. I'll go there.
I think you love it.
I love what? I love what?
The Creepy Hour.
I love making people laugh. That's what I like to do. Unlike some people that like to sit on their fannies and open their mouths and take shots at people who has absolutely know what they talk about half the time. So,
who are you talking about?
You know who I'm talking about, and I don't have to mention names. But anyway, spit it out. Spit it out. Grandpa, spit it out.
You don't think it? What did you say? Did you say Grandpa?
I called you Grandpa.
Oh, okay. No, I like that. It's pretty funny. I am old. Old as dirt.
Mm.
Okay, so
Old as dirt.
You know what I thought about the other day? Actually, you and Steve Kerr agreed on something, and believe it or not.
Oh, wow. How wonderful.
Now, remember how Jason Tatum, when he doesn't show up,
somebody just fart? Sounded like
he didn't show up in the big spots, right?
Yes.
Right, Errol?
Yes.
Yeah, it's up to. So maybe you think that's what why Kerr sat him? Right? Meanwhile, you're saying that he should play him, but on the other hand, you're kind of agreeing with him. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it like that, maybe that's why he didn't play him. Same reason you don't like him in the clutch times, right?
He didn't play him because LeBron James told him not to play him. That is why he didn't play him. Can we stop with this?
No. Listen, LeBron did not coach that team.
Are you kidding me?
No, he didn't coach the team. He might have wanted a big influence on the players on the team.
Stop, Keith.
Right?
Stop.
I'll tell you, if he did coach it, LeBron should get coach of the century.
He should. He should. You know why? He should be, he should be riding up the panties that were there at the game at the end of the finals after they won the gold medal. You see how many panties were out there, Speedy? You saw him moving them around, shaking them around, right? No.
Do you?
I did.
LeBron should be a player coach.
I'm sorry.
Now,
we've said that for like 3 years. Like he's going to be at some point. He practically is already.
I mean, he's good. He brought JJ Redick in. I mean, he's the one that wanted JJ there. Why do you think you wanted JJ?
Work out better than you think, man.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, how many championships do you think they're going to bring home over there?
It doesn't mean you have to win a championship.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
2 years to play.
Why are you bringing him there if you're not going to win it?
Hold on a second.
LeBron has 2 years left in the league. He has to win a championship.
It's going to work better? How's it going to work better if you're not winning a championship?
You're not going to win championships right away with Minnesota, Oklahoma. Think of all the teams. JJ Redick was important to win a championship right now.
He wasn't born to win.
So what, is he going to win a championship in 8 years when LeBron is 50 years old?
No. There's other players after LeBron's speed that we don't even know who will be there someday.
Okay, I like connects. Do you trust anyone else on the young players?
Yes, I love him.
How many championships did JJ Redick win anywhere? Please.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, it does. Yes,
No,
it does.
doesn't.
Yeah, he had a choice to bring in a lot of other coaches, and he picked JJ Redick. Yes,
I'm saying, but that has nothing to do with how many championships JJ Redick won.
Then why is it going to work out? How is that going to work out? How is that going to work out? What the hell is you talking about? How is it going to work out, Keith? If you're not going to bring, why do you play to win a championship? You play to win a championship, do you not? Do you play to win a championship? Do you play to win a championship?
Have a heart attack.
No, I'm not. Do you play to win a championship? Yes or no?
Of course.
All right. So how is it going to work if they don't win a championship?
That means they don't win a championship. Big deal. Neither have the Knicks in how many years?
Oh, please.
So
The Lakers have
you think
the
JJ Redick
Lakers
without
and the
LeBron could win a
Celtics, The
championship?
Lakers are the most successful franchise in the history of the NBA.
Okay. And
Right?
you think if LeBron
Hold
retires,
on.
Actually,
Let me
they're
finish.
not. The Boston Celtics.
You have no idea if JJ Redick is going to be good or
Boston
not.
Celtics.
You have no idea.
The Boston Celtics have more championships than the LA
Right? But wait,
Lakers.
now this is going to be my point, and hear me
can't
out.
wait for this.
They have one more championship, just one more. How many finals have the Lakers been in? Almost twice as many.
And how many championships did they lose? Twice as many. So please.
Right. And you know what? But they made it to the final round.
Who cares? It's all about
Either
winning.
way, Errol, they're both on equal ground.
No, they're not.
And you know it.
No, they're not.
Oh, stop. Because of one more championship? That's the
They're not.
dumbest. Come on, Errol. You're smarter than that, I think. Maybe.
the Celtics have done more in the last 15 years.
You called it the creepy hour, and you're the
Who
one who
done
enjoys
more?
it more than anybody.
The Celtics have, in the last
Hold on,
15
Speedy.
years, the Celtics have been a better franchise than the Lakers.
Oh, really? How many championships have the Lakers won?
The same amount, but like I'm saying,
That's enough. According to Errol, whoever won as many championships, you have to win a championship to be the best franchise, right?
I didn't say they were
And
the best
I'm
franchise, the
makes
Celtics,
sense.
but
But I'm
And
not
you're the
talking
hold
about-
on, hold on,
Hold
and
on,
you-
I'm not
hold
talking
on.
about the
I
last
got to
15
cut you
years, by the
off.
way.
I'm going to cut you off right here. You said, well, they've been to more championship, NBA championships. Well, guess what? The Celtics have been to more NBA championships than the Lakers have in the last 10 years.
You weren't talking about the last 10 years.
You just
by the way.
brought it up.
talking
What are you
about since
talking about?
2010.
You just said
I
it.
said in their history.
You said 10 years. You just
No,
brought
I
up how
did
many.
not.
You just said it.
Rewind it
Speedy,
and play it.
Speedy, what did he just say? He said in the last
I did
10
not
years,
say
how many
10 years.
championships? You said when we said how
I
many
said the last 15 years.
Okay.
Since
Right,
2010.
Speedy said.
All right,
Speedy,
right.
did I say any amount of years?
He just said.
No, you were mentioning all.
Just spit it out.
all
What he
time.
said.
Speedy, did I say
No.
any amount of years? Did I
You
bring up
just
any
said.
amount of years?
All right. Let
No,
me
I
speak.
said 15 years.
You said 15 years.
Thank you.
And then you said, how many championships have the Celtics won in the last 15 years? And Speedy said
I did
one.
not.
And you said,
Yeah,
yes,
you
you did.
did. You
Yes,
said
you did.
You said
Yes,
the
you
Lakers
did.
won the same
Yes, you
amount.
did.
Errol said,
Take
well,
it-
hold on.
Take the sausage out of your
Pete,
mouth.
you told me the Lakers and the Celtics have won the same amount of championships in that time, which is true. But
Then you
the
said how
Celtics
many
have been a
years.
much
I'm-
better run
That's what
franchise.
you said.
Holy shit.
That's what you
I
said.
didn't say.
That's what you
Errol
said.
just said that I said in the last 10 years. I did not mention years ever.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
What-
but you
No,
you replied to
Yeah.
my comment
Oh,
when you said
How
the
many
Celtics
championships?
and Lakers have won the same amount of championships, and I said
I
yes,
did
but
not say in how many years.
You said
Yes,
he said
for the
10
15
years.
I said
Speedy.
since 2010. The Lakers won the one in the
Speedy.
bubble. The Celtics won the one this year.
Speedy, Errol just said that I said in the last 10 years. I never fucking said that.
No, but you were referencing on me.
No, I'm not denying that, Speedy. I didn't. All I said is I didn't say anything in the
Breathe
last 10 years.
in, breathe out.
And Errol said I said it. Rewind the tape.
Do you want me to rewind it? Because you'll be wrong.
Yes.
I know for a fact you
Think
said
about
it.
10 years.
He said, listen, Speedy said in the last 15 years.
Right, and you said that I said in the last 10
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
which
You
I
said
did.
how many championships in those years did the
I didn't
Lakers
say
win?
any-
Yes, he did.
No,
Yeah.
I said in all the years, and that's Speedy said
And the
15.
Celtics have more championships. Done.
But, yes, was that
Game
three?
over.
Not game over. You said that I said in 10 years, so stop lying.
I'm not
Yeah, but
lying.
first
Go
you
listen.
said you
I
said
don't
all the
care.
time.
Am I
Speedy.
wrong?
What's the
Speedy, I'm not
Celtics?
disagreeing. Speedy, I'm not disagreeing with any of that. All I'm disagreeing with, very simple, Errol. And Speedy and Fish. I did not mention anything about 10 years, what Errol said I did. Okay? That's a fact.
No, that's not
Rewind
a fact.
it.
You're wrong. We will rewind
Rewind
it. I'm going to spit this out to you because I know that's what you said. You're wrong.
I definitely did not say
Oh, I
that.
can't wait to give this to
Speedy,
you.
did I say anything about years? Be honest.
He said 15 years.
No,
and then
no,
you
no,
said,
Did I say?
But you said
You might have said the wrong
You'll say it
term.
again.
But yeah, you
It's
were
not-
just responding to me. I don't-
you responded to him, and I said in the
That
last
is the one
15
you
years.
said, Errol.
Oh,
You
stop.
said I
Stop,
mentioned.
Keith.
I said in
Keith,
the
get it
last
out.
10
Keith,
years.
I got another topic to get into. What do you got to talk about? Let's get this over with.
All right. Well, you were wrong on that.
No.
But anyway, yeah, you just like to bullshit over it. Rewind it. I didn't say anything about 10 years.
I like the
Fact.
bullshit. You cut me off on my own show when Jeff was on because you wanted to hear Jeff more than you want to hear me.
But yeah, but I'm not lying.
Stupid. You want to talk about
I'm not
stupid?
lying.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
I wasn't.
That's
I
stupid.
said stupid.
That's stupid. Jeff, you want to hear Jeff more than you want to hear me. That's stupid. That
No,
shows
no.
you. Yeah,
You,
that's what you wanted to
didn't
hear.
let Jeff
That's-
finish, is all I said.
Oh, I didn't let Jeff finish. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. I didn't let Jeff finish. I always let Jeff finish. He doesn't let me speak, and either do you. But go ahead.
Neither do I.
Yeah,
Listen,
either do you.
It's the other way around. All right,
Either do
listen.
you.
I didn't mention the thing about 10 years, and Speedy, you know it. I did respond to it. That is when I said anything, Speedy, about responding. So I'm not just going to let that go. I didn't say that. So you owe me an apology for that one.
Nope.
I didn't say it. You flat out lying about that. Or you misheard. Maybe not lying, but you misheard. I did not say anything about years. I do mumble. I talk quick, but I didn't say anything about 10 years. I give you my word on that. Okay, Speedy mentioned 15 years. I didn't mention anything about years. Forget that. It's stupid anyway. Okay. Well, let's talk about the greatest athletes of all time. Now, you said Michael Jordan, right, before. And, I can respect what maybe think that. I think, without a doubt, not the greatest athlete of all time. You want to say greatest basketball player? Yeah. Greatest athlete to me is the guy who played different professional sports or was great at all sports. Michael Jordan was a horrific baseball player. He shouldn't even been the minors. The only reason he was is because, Chicago. I'm sure you agree with that. He had a big hitch in his swing, like a softball swing. Hey, you know what? I don't blame him for trying. It was fun. He was bored. Something to do, but he was awful. He's not even like a good high school player. But the greatest athlete, Bo Jackson, better athlete. Deion Sanders, better athlete. Jim Thorpe, better athlete. Jim Brown, better athlete. In my opinion. What do you guys think about that? And I'd like to hear Fish's take.
About Jim Thorpe? I never saw him play, Keith. He died 100 years before I was born.
Yeah, we're here. He's speaking, but you can't hear him. He's on the other side. But if you want to hear him, he'll answer your question.
He said he didn't really know because he didn't see him play.
The question wasn't all time; it was recent, last generation.
When I say greatest athlete, I'm talking about athlete in his sport, and what I see when I'm comparing the greatest athlete of all time in their dominance in their sport. So, I still think Michael Jordan is the greatest.
Usually when you say greatest athlete, you meant the greatest athlete.
No.
Not in one sport.
No, because
Tell Keith Bo Jackson for the highest point of anyone that's ever played for a short period of time was the best athlete I ever saw.
He says that Bo Jackson, but I beg to differ. I think it's Dave Winfield because he was drafted in three different sports.
Right.
He was drafted in 3 different sports.
I'll give you that.
In the first round. I think it's Dave Winfield. If you want to ask me who the greatest athlete, and by the way, a Hall of Fame baseball player, and one of the greats.
That could be, yeah. It's just that Bo Jackson actually did play 2 pro sports and was great in both of them. Not great baseball player, but very good, and a great football player.
And Deion Sanders was highly overrated in baseball, which people don't believe.
Deion Sanders is a very good baseball player.
Ah, stop.
He wasn't?
No, I don't think so. No.
I'll tell you who else, man. A good athlete is Patrick Mahomes because he could have been a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, so could Jameis Winston. What did that do?
No.
Yeah, he could.
Jameis Winston didn't play baseball.
He was drafted in baseball.
Yes, he was.
So was Russell Wilson.
He was a great pitcher. Yes, he was.
But he wasn't near up to Patrick Mahomes. Who was the other guy? I'm thinking of another guy.
Russell Wilson was drafted in baseball too.
Jameis Winston was a very good pitcher.
Russell Wilson, and there's one more though. You guys don't know. I was trying to think of it before. I can't remember. Trying to think of the guys who were drafted.
Kyler Murray. Yeah, Kyler Murray too was the other one.
Yeah.
This is for all the Deion Sanders lovers that just want to.
I'm not a Deion Sanders lover at all.
Masturbate to Deion Sanders in baseball. Here's his numbers that everybody.
Why would they say something like that?
But it's true.
Because Jerry Jones would do it.
50. Oh, here we go. Out of 2,123 at bats, 558 hits, 39 home runs, 263, and 168 RBIs. Wonderful. Wonderful career.
A 263 average is pretty damn
Wonderful
good for a guy who played mostly baseball. It's not, Errol, just for the fact he played Major League Baseball, anybody who made Major League Baseball is a great athlete. Just to make it. Just to make it, you got to be awesome.
The only reason why he played baseball and he got a chance to play was because he was a phenomenal football player.
Oh, yes. Yes, he was. He couldn't tackle, but he didn't tackle, but he didn't have to. He was great. No doubt about it.
I don't want to hang out with Shador. because he doesn't know that
What?
to tackle except women.
What happened?
I said, why didn't he hang out with his son, Shador? Only he could tackle is women.
Shador?
Shador Sanders.
Yeah, what about him?
I said,
Future Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Shador Sanders, when he becomes the coach.
I said, you said that he couldn't
That-
tackle. You said Deion
Well,
Sanders
that's
couldn't
ridiculous.
tackle. And I said he should hang out with Shador Sanders. The only thing he
Oh.
could tackle is women. Did you not? You didn't
Gotcha.
get that? You got that?
No,
couldn't
Keith,
hear
we
you.
know it's ridiculous, but it does sound very Jerry Jones-esque to do.
Man, oh man.
What was
I'm
with that
trying to
Jerry
help
Jones
here today.
patting the guy in the ass? What were you talking about?
Oh, Speedy? You get in the answer?
No, I'm not getting anywhere
No.
near Jerry Jones.
No, you guys.
Oh, I don't.
The guy that I don't even remember his last name. And
Gareon Conley.
Yeah. He was funny, man. It was good.
Yes, he was.
Very entertaining.
I think we were the one entertaining. I think that's where it was.
All
going.
right, so I guess I made my point, which basically came out to nothing, but I didn't say 10 years. I didn't say 10 years. You misheard something. I know. And I know you don't do drugs, so I don't know what happened with that. But, well, remember, as the great George Costanza said, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Thank you.
Jerry.
Thank
All
you.
right.
my friend. I love you. I
Good
still
night,
love you,
guys.
Keith.
Yes,
I
yes.
still love you.
Much love. Bye.
All right. Man, oh man. Did I get stupider today? I might have. I'm a little lost tonight. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm laughing, I'm jolly, and then I lose everything from my friend Keith. How wonderful. Thank you. Anyways, I have one more subject to get into, but before we do that, I'd like to hear Scoops' thoughts on the whole Aaron Judge thing. I mean, I don't think he's Mariano Rivera.
Oh man, what a call! First of all, that completely derailed
Sensational.
the thoughts.
It's the GOAT of all GOAT calls.
That was a good one. Hey,
Yeah.
at least it can end mutually and not a Jeff interaction. So
Yeah, well, you know what? He's infatuated with Jeff for some damn reason. I don't know what it is. So what is it with Jeff that he finds so cool? I didn't let him speak. That's the problem. All I do is let that guy speak. And then I got held up by Keith because he wouldn't let me speak on my own show. So figure that one out.
yeah,
I
but
don't know.
touching real quick though, just before we finish off on this, for the fact that I'm sorry, I don't know who it was that you were saying from WFEN that said the comment about him.
Brendan Tierney.
The fact that he said the only other person that he can compare to as a New York great or can argue with it is Lawrence Taylor just completely contradicted himself. I mean, he basically made himself lose the argument while just starting the argument. He basically lost all credibility with that because yes, Judge has accomplished a lot for the Yankees in his short time. Yes, that is true. But I mean, Fish even said it too. He the amount of home runs he's hit, nobody's really done it ever since, steroids were a thing. When you see the thing is that when people see athletes like this that are poised to be great, having such success at such young, I mean, Aaron Judge still has a lot to give. So for him to be at this of a high level so early in the career, so early with him being with the Yankees, he's going to be poised to be a great Yankee of all time. I mean, he definitely will probably go down as a Yankee great. But like you said, the fact that we still have Mariano in the mix up and that he didn't even at least acknowledge, if we're going to talk about, he basically just went all the way outside the realm of baseball into football. Didn't even want to acknowledge Mariano, who is the only guy, of course, right now to sit in the Hall of Fame unanimously, or everybody decided this guy needs to be in the Hall of Fame. And of course, Lawrence Taylor, the dominance that he brought at the linebacker position and ran that league for as long as he did at the high level that he did, goes to show that he basically just contradicted himself and he basically lost without even, throwing a punch. So
don't we love WFN? Don't we love it? I mean, thank you. Thank you to Brandon Tierney for making me even more dumber or even smarter when it comes to sports radio, because that was a horrible take, by the way. And I like Brandon Tierney. I think he's a great I think he's a great host. I really do. I'm not mocking him. I mean, his partner, on the other hand, it's hard to fall in love with. But Brandon Tierney, fellow Jet fan, I have a lot of respect for him, so I'm not. But it was a terrible take. You cannot try to sell me that Aaron Judge is the greatest athlete in New York history in the last 50 years. when you have Lawrence Taylor, you have Mariano Rivera. Honestly, no offense to even that, I would probably, and I'm not a Derek Jeter fan, I would take Derek Jeter over him too. I mean, Derek Jeter, look at his numbers in the playoffs. I mean, they're ridiculous. I mean, he can't even play. He hasn't done anything in the playoffs yet. And even if he wins a championship, Derek won 5, and 4 of them, he had a lot to do with it. So I disagree with Brandon Tierney. I think it's a ridiculous take. But hey, Speedy, we do a lot of ridiculous takes, don't we? Are you okay?
Yeah.
You good? Sure? Yeah. You sure? No bopping? What? No bobbing?
No.
You sure?
I'm sure.
I'm good. We're good? We're good for today?
Sure.
All right. ESPN, Jesse Rogers reports that the MLB is exploring a 6-inning minimum for starting pitching with a couple of exceptions. The exceptions are if a pitcher allows 4 runs or more, is over 100 pitches, or getting injured. MLB says that they believe it will help reduce the amount of pitching injuries if pitchers pitch longer and are less reliant on their strikeouts. MLB has also discussed limiting the size of pitching staffs and getting rid of the double DH hook rule that eliminates the DH position in the game. There have been only 21 pitchers that have thrown complete games this season, and only Max Fried and Kevin Gausman have thrown multiple. Oh, my God. Here comes more changes. Here comes more bull crap. First of all, you take away the DH, it ruins the game. You finally add the DH rule to the National League, and now you want to take it away? How does that make sense? It doesn't. I mean, what I'm reading here, it doesn't make any sense. But again, Rob Manfred is running the league, so that doesn't make sense. As far as the starting pitching is concerned, these guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars. To add rules to keep these pitchers from pitching a certain amount of innings or pitching a certain amount of pitches makes absolutely no sense too. Because unless you take away these big contracts that these pitchers are getting. I mean, Garrett Cole's making 38, 39 million. You have pitchers that are going to be making about 50, 60 million. If you're going to take that away, you might as well not have starting pitching anymore. You just have relief pitching. That's what I think they should do. If you're going to add rules and take pitchers off the mound after a certain amount of pitches, a certain amount of strikes and whatever, it doesn't make sense. You might as well just take starting pitching completely away from the game. And what do they call the game now? What do they call those games?
So the opener, which would
might as well
this
do it
rule,
that way.
if this rule that would eliminate that whole concept because the pitcher has to go 6 innings.
All right, so might as well just play with the opener and let's call it a day. Don't have to pitch these. You don't have to play these pitchers or pay. Not play these pitchers. Pay these pitchers the amount of money, and then hey, guess what? You can pitch Garrett Cole every other day. I mean, if you could pitch him for 3 innings, you give him a little bit of rest. He has enough arm strength. You put him in after a game, and then you could pitch him 4 times a week. That would make sense. Get your money's worth out of him. It doesn't make sense. None of these rules make any sense. I mean, baseball has been an absolute debacle when it comes to these new laws, these new rules. The fact that the 6-inning minimum when it comes to starting pitching, what happens if the pitcher hurts himself?
That's part of the exception.
That's one of the exceptions.
Oh, okay. Here's another question. What happens if the pitcher looks like crap and the game is 20-0? What are you going to do? Keep him on the mound and he loses confidence and he never pitches again in the major leagues? Come on, guys.
It was weird. There's a couple of scenarios they said where they can have like 5 earned runs or 4 earned run speed. I forget the number. But then they could take them out.
Stop changing the game. You're ruining the game. This is
wild.
This is wild. This is crazy. What is baseball doing here? Maybe we should ask Brandon Tierney. Okay, I mean, he's got a great take when it comes to the greatest athlete in New York sports history. Hey, let's give him the rule. Hey, Brandon, think of a nice little judgment on this rule, and whatever you decide, we'll go with. Give me a break. I'm tired of this crap. Who the hell is making these rules? Who the hell is thinking of these rules? Oh, shoot. I mean, is it Max Scherzer? Is it?
Oh, no. Max Scherzer is the reason that these pitchers are not going to get paid because nobody's going to pay him that contract that he got anymore, maybe besides
What,
the
are you
Mets.
kidding me? No, first of all, he got that contract.
Oh, he did.
He's getting that money. It's guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
That's baseball.
Yeah, one of the
Players union.
Luckily, baseball players union is strong, and like Dale Scott was saying, like it's probably
As
the
strong
strongest
as you
union.
bobbing frapples?
Much stronger than that. But it is interesting with the financial end of it too, because if they're trying to encourage them to go longer in the games, like it is interesting for them to be able to get that kind of value. And there's enough young pitchers that definitely still go longer into games. It's never going to be the same rate where you're getting these guys that go 7 innings consistently and go into complete games. But it'll be interesting to see also with guys that are on innings limits too that we've seen, because teams handle younger pitchers differently too. And the Pirates, that's the dilemma they're having right now with Paul Skeens. And since they've fallen off in the second half of the season, could we see him shut down at the end of the year? Would they encourage him to go 6 innings more in the start strategically to make that work? Or would they say, all right, we're going to pull you, even if you have a bad inning, allow 4 runs and just pull you from the game right away, which a lot of teams are saying, all right, let's let the young pitcher try to battle his way out, see what he can do. Maybe they won't do that now anymore in the new rules. So it'll be interesting mentally how they'll be able to handle that kind of thing, where you only have the stipulation of allowing 4 runs, and also how it will change, like you're saying, the strikeouts. Like, is there going to be less strikeouts because they're going to try to pitch more to the 6 innings, or they're still going to try to go hard, pitch 100 pitches and still 4 innings? I don't know if it'll drastically change much, but I do think it'll be interesting to see how managerial strategy changes and how innings limit strategy changes with these
Who
younger
should go
teams.
hard? Who should go hard?
Who should go hard?
Who you said somebody has to go hard. Who has to go hard?
Harder in terms of velocity, still to try to get to the strikeouts.
So the harder, the better, right?
Which that's the way that a lot of these players develop. Now, the one thing that's interesting is because of these injuries now, are they still trying to push for that kind of thing too? It's not an exact formula. We were discussing that a
Well,
moment
the
ago.
formula is harder, the better, right?
Well, yeah, that's what they're encouraging. There's all these guys
I'm
throwing 100
encouraging
miles
it.
an hour. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of players that are still going to be
Probably.
encouraged
I
that
think
by,
anybody
by
would
that kind of thing.
encourage it, yeah.
But with all these, that's the only reason I'm still kind of questioning it with all these
I'm not
injuries.
questioning. I think it's
all
harder
these
the better.
injuries to these major pitchers this year. Is that something they're going to be able to get sustainable to work with going forward?
It's always sustainable.
Not necessarily.
What do you mean? Have you ever done it?
It's nothing to do with me. I'm not a baseball player.
Well, but if you were, the harder the better.
I don't know, but my point is the sustainability of why these pitching injuries happen is not just one thing. It's a thing where it's not just the pitch clock. It's not just velocity. There's a lot of things.
It's a lot of velocity.
Yes, there is a lot of velocity. Guys are throwing harder.
Damn right they are.
Yeah. They're throwing harder. Sometimes that could lead to the injury. Sometimes they won't. And I'm curious to see if they do.
I'm curious.
Strategically try to, whether it's the analytics department or the manager decides to pitch for it more.
Stretching it?
Yeah, pitchers have to pitch from the stretch. Good job.
Very good. Okay. So stretching it harder, it all takes it to that next level, right?
It could.
Well,
if you locate your pitch as well, it definitely could.
Well, I always locate it.
Okay. Well, then go try out for a major league team.
I don't have to. I mean, I'm all about the strike zone.
Okay. Go try out for a major league team.
The harder, the better.
Okay. Go try out for a major league team.
All right. I will. Are we going to share this moment if I do?
I will congratulate you if you make it to a major league team. Yeah.
So you would shake me.
Shake you? Why would I shake you?
You would shake me.
What?
It's
That makes
harder.
no sense.
It's harder. It's better. We're all ready to go.
It's nothing to do with me. You're the player.
Would you rather be the pitcher or the catcher?
The pitcher.
Why?
Because the catcher has so much wear and tear on their body. Fish, get your very good take, he said, before he decides to derail this even further. Because you had some very good insight in your text you had sent to me earlier.
So let me play devil's advocate because I'm with Errol. I don't think they need to make this change, but I think what they're trying to do to try to focus after that is pretty tough. But I'll tell you. But they want to get injuries down and they want the games to be shorter. So I think what they're thinking is if you pitch to contact, you're not going to go max velocity. You'll last longer into games so your arm gets saved so that these guys won't get hurt as much and there'll be less Tommy John injuries. I think that's what they're thinking. And then, of course, if you're pitching to contact, the ball's in play, there's more action and, higher scores. And theoretically, since people aren't walking and striking out, then the game should be faster also. I see what they're trying to do. It seems to be I mean, there was an even crazier one, Errol, that we were talking about that I hated even more with the But double hook DH. Did you, Speedy? We were talking about that. Where
Yes,
if you don't get,
it's rarely used, the double hook DH. And
yeah,
I
it's
just,
like kind of like bringing the double
I
switchback.
was surprised they didn't do it more with some of the weaker teams. That was mainly my that was
But
mainly
they're
my,
trying some crazy stuff, man. And
I'm
this one,
encouraged with all strategy. So I'm fine with them implementing. It's a rare scenario, like I was discussing with you before. Like it's only based on teams that maybe don't have the pitching depth or have ultra versatile teams. I'm just surprised with the new rule in 2022 that wasn't brought in more. But yeah, if you have the universal DH, you're obviously going to keep, if you have a good DH, the DH in there.
yeah, and it's just one of those things where they're trying to do stuff. At least they're trying. They know that baseball, which once was America's pastime. I love the movie Field of Dreams. The famous speech that this is America's sport. It hasn't been America's sport maybe since the strike in '94 probably is when it fell behind the NBA. It fell behind NFL, and by the time it got to the late '90s, I think it's pretty clear it's the third sport. And only because hockey's regional up north. You could say hockey's far more exciting to watch and play than baseball. So if it would, it may be more expensive. I don't know, but ice time's probably harder. And I'm not going to get into that because I didn't play hockey because I can't skate for crap. But
Speedy,
if you locate them well, throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle, it still could go back the other way. It's a thing called exit velocity.
It could go back the other way.
It's a thing called exit velocity. They track too.
Oh, it definitely exits.
oh man, just got to throw it right down Broadway there, Speedy.
You
just
like
get max
Broadway?
velocity.
It's
right, which still could be hit for a home run the other way with a good power hitter.
Which
not even
way?
An average power hitter.
Are you a pull ball hitter? Are you a pull ball?
I'm not good at hitting.
I'm not good at hitting. But if you were,
Carl, my exit velocity would not be very good. I was not a good hitter.
Maybe you'll become one.
No, that's highly unlikely.
Can I help you?
Carl, we're talking about baseball. What are you talking about me being a receiver?
Are you a receiver?
Not really.
Would you be a good one? What would you rather be, a receiver or quarterback?
A receiver, but I mean, I would be very good.
Well,
do I switch hit? No, I don't. No, I did not switch hit.
Somebody's got to switch it.
Yes, there's plenty of people that could switch hit.
Do you know any of them?
I did in Little League a while ago, but like personally, guys in the major leagues, no.
Well, we can hook you up with one.
What?
Switch it.
Makes no sense.
What do you mean?
What does switch hitting have to do with me? There's no correlation whatsoever.
Well, are you lefty or righty?
I'm a righty, but what does that have to do with anything?
Which one do you like to grab?
Throw a pitch. Yeah, you throw a pitch with your right hand.
What do you do with the left?
You hide the pitch so they can't see what it is. The reason pitchers get they reveal later on they tip pitches by accident.
Well, do you tip pitches?
I would hope not.
But would you?
Why would I deliberately tip pitches? I love to know what baseball strategist would say, "Oh, go deliberately tip pitches."
Well, somebody's got to tip them, right?
Yeah, you'll have a great place in the White Sox front office if you think that. Seems to be their logic.
I'm gonna have a heart attack tonight, man. I'm losing myself, man. Speedy, have you lost yourself?
I might be on that pace. Would I putt from the rough, Carl? No, I would not. I've actually, if I was much more of a golf strategist, I would actually be the opposite. I'd like to use the.
I just spit. That thing just flew right out of my mouth.
Carl, amidst this laughter, I will answer your question, though. I would be much more encouraged to try the more creative clubs in unconventional settings than I would be trying to putt from the green because I don't have that brute force.
You do have brute force.
No, I don't.
You have that hitting strength.
No, I don't.
Are you a good putter?
Okay.
How far do you need to be from the hole?
Don't know exact measurements.
Take it.
I don't remember. I don't know the longest putt I would have ever made. I don't think it would have been that long. I would guess anywhere maybe from it's probably in the 10 to 13 range.
So you like it 10?
Probably would be the longest.
The
No, I didn't
longest?
say like. I said
13.
what I think I've accomplished. I don't know.
But you go 13, right?
Not deliberately.
Speedy, what's the best club in your bag
Would have to
and
be a pretty
why?
short putt to do that. Sorry, I was just answering Carl's question. Carl, to answer your question, it would have to be a short putt for me to try it lefty, but it's probably not impossible. Go ahead, Fish, what were you gonna say?
I was just what's the best club in your bag and why?
Oh, six iron.
I was just about to say
six iron because my friend Chris, who I did a radio show with in college, he went golfing all the time, and he took me out twice golfing.
He took you out, huh?
Yes. What am I gonna play golf in his house?
Maybe if you like to.
All right, well, I'll have to pay for everything I break. But so the one hole we didn't really keep score or anything, but because it was the first time I ever golfed, so he was just showing it to me. So the one hole, it was the fifth hole that I actually got a bogey on. I beat him. Like I was like semi keeping score because I was just curious. And the one hole I beat him, I got a long. It was a second shot with the 6 iron from the rough.
From the rough.
And I got it like pretty close to the I don't know the exact distance, but enough where it wasn't hard to putt after that. So I ended up bogeying the hole. I think it was a 5 on a par 4 hole. That's a bogey. And then he got, I think, a 6 or a 7, but it was the one hole I won. So for that reason, I will be biased to 6 iron. Carl, I don't know if I've used a pitching wedge. He didn't really teach me like every club, in that moment. I know what it is. Like I've seen, I've done like Top Golf since then, and I've watched golf. But like, I don't know if I would have used it specifically. But I know what a pitching wedge is. And his other question: do you believe in having a good greenskeeper? Yeah, I would be much encouraged by golf course maintenance. I wouldn't do it, but I would hope the course does it well.
Would you mow the lawn?
For a price, I would, yeah.
I love you. You're the best. You're the best of the best. You're everybody's dream.
Carl, of course I would take the short rough over the heavy rough. I think most golfers would.
99% of the world would too.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
99% of golfers would have that answer, Carl.
Wow. So we've pretty much learned that Speedy likes the 6 iron, and he likes it 13, right?
No, I just think that's the longest putt I've made. I don't know why I would like it any more than anything else.
And you'd rather be a pitcher than a catcher.
Yes.
And what was the reason for that?
The catcher has a lot of wear and tear on their body. Yes, Carl. No one likes the deep cabbage. Yeah, that's correct.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our show. Speedy After Dark.
And Carl After Dark. Give him some credit too.
You're a crazy son.
Good job, Carl. This was your best After Dark showing.
Oh, man, I'm losing myself. Anyways, thank you to Matt O'Leary, New York Jets content creator. Thank you to Gareon Conley for joining us. He was fantastic. Thank you, Gareon. We definitely have to talk off air. I like Gareon. Thank you to Fish for all the content, all the creation of the graphics and the craziness. Thank you to Scoops for Scoops' scores and all that other stuff and his content. And thank you to you, Speedy. Thank you. You are a gem, a wonder of us all. You are the king of everything we wish and wonder what the world should really be. So thank you. Thank you.
I'm truly honored.
I'm gonna piss myself.
Special thanks to our recurring segment, Keith's Takes from Outer Space.
You should have had Jeff in his pants. Let him speak. Let him speak. Oh, man. All right. That's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back on Tuesday. Listen to the Weekend Crunch on 103.9 FM on Saturday at 7 p.m. It'll be a good one. I'm sure of it.
The doggo is here.
I have one more question for you, Speed. And this is a really good one. It's a really, really good one. You ready? Yeah. Okay. Now, you know the bat has two sides, right?
Second grade math, everybody.
All right. If you were to choose one side of the bat to swing with, which side would it be and why?
The one everybody does.
Why is that?
It's going to be hard to grip it on the other end and try to hit it with the thin side. No, Carl. Fitch's dog will never do that to me.
Look at him on attack.
Was the broom late to the job interview? I don't know, but you should probably brush it under the rug.
Oh. I'm gonna die, man.
Oh, that's good. He overswept. All right, there you go. There you go, Carl. That was good.
All right, I better go before I really have a heart attack.
Go share a Wu-Tang pie with The Rock.
I should hang out with The Rock with you. What would you think?
Go ahead.
You come with me. We hang out together. We'll share.
I'm not sharing any pie.
Somebody's pie, right?
You can go share it.
You like to mow lawns.
I didn't say that.
You don't like to mow lawns?
I said I would do it if I get paid.
I'm sure you will. Oh, anyways, thank you to all the fans. We will see you on Tuesday next week. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Take a look under your bed.